What's up, film family, and welcome to the Film Room Podcast. My name's Dion,
My name is Scott.
and today we're doing the 2025 John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. And if you're new to the show, no expert takes here. Just some quick thoughts, some listener opinions, some fun discussion. At the end of the show, we have an award show called the Filmies, so stay tuned for that. And with that being said, Scott, I'm kind of curious. What were your thoughts as you're stepping out of the theater? I want the right out the theater thoughts. Just like
Right
as
out
you
the
walked out
theater.
of right out the theater thoughts after you watched Ballerina. What was your
Well, it's a
initial
good
thoughts
thing that I
as
just walked out of the theater. No, I'm kidding. I watched a few days
yeah,
ago, but
yeah.
right out of the theater, I was like, "This is it's all right." I was like,
Okay.
"It's all right." The action was great. You know, the
Mhm.
fact that lived up to the John Wick action, that's a high bar,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I think it delivered on that. So I was happy with the action. Story though, I was like, this is like super predictable. This is kind of
Mhm.
weak. I didn't think the story was great, but
Mhm.
the action was awesome. We got some great performances. Overall, like I enjoyed it, but
Mhm.
I did want a little. I did expect a little bit more.
I get what you're saying with that, but it's funny because like on that same because we just did the John Wick um review, we were
Hmm.
talking about how like the story is really simple,
Right.
but in this sense, you don't like how this story was simple.
Well, not yes. Simple is different. Like it's John Wick's story was simple. You're
Mhm.
right. Like he's going for revenge, but every step in his journey was for a reason.
Mhm.
Right? So he wants to get revenge of these guys, so he goes to talk to Aurelio and get his car, and he finds out who did it. And then he goes to the Continental and gets information of how he can find Losif, and like he's fighting people along the way,
Mhm.
but he's doing it all toward his ultimate goal.
Yeah.
This one there was stuff that like didn't even need to be in there. Like when Eve goes to the club scene, that they're just like, okay, you're the director says you're ready for your first job, and here you got to protect this person.
Yeah.
That feels like they just like, okay, we need an action scene. What should we
Mhm.
do? Okay, give her first job. I didn't
Yeah.
know, like the client meant nothing to me. They didn't tell me
Yeah.
who she was, who
Mhm.
they're attacking, why she's protecting them. They didn't tell us any of that. They're just like, you got to
Yeah.
protect this girl. Her dad's trying to kidnap her. Go do it.
Mhm.
And then she goes and does it. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Like
And
they didn't
I
make
get
me they didn't make me care about anybody.
yeah, no, that's a good point. And yeah, because when I was seeing that, I was thinking, I was like, why is her dad trying to why is her dad trying to kidnap his own daughter? Like what was to the extent that she had to go that hard to fight him. Like she was fucking
Right.
stabbing the dude. I'm like
Exactly.
what did he want to do with his daughter? Like what was that is a good point.
And then I feel
I
like if they
yeah.
told you that, then you could care more about it. Like I didn't care what happened in that scene.
Mhm.
Again, I know she's going to win the fight. That's the simplicity of John Wick. And again, in the
Yeah.
first one, again, I know he's going to win the fights,
Yeah.
but do I know why he's doing it? I mean, yeah, I know why she's doing it, but it doesn't really hold any weight because I don't care about these characters. Like
Yeah.
if she fails and they kidnap that girl, okay, would that change
Mhm.
even anything in the story? Like,
Yeah,
you know
that
what
is
I
a
mean?
good point. I didn't really think about that, to be honest, because like I kind of just watched it and thought of it as like there's just like a test. But I was thinking like when I was watching it, I was like, okay, but like who are these people? Like what's gonna happen when she saves her? And like yeah, like there wasn't really anything that came from her saving her. Like after she
Yeah.
saved her, we didn't really see that girl again, and like we didn't really know the reason why she was saving her. So that's a good. I agree with you on that point. I didn't really think about it, but yeah, I didn't really. Um, yeah, I didn't really think about why
Yeah, so
it was
that's
even
one of the
there.
things that like story wise I think was weak. Like I think, like I said, the
Mhm.
action was great, and yes, the simplicity is fantastic. Like the her going on a revenge tour, I again, that's what John Wick is. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's what it was overall. But I
Mhm.
think the first one as well, the story is elevated by its emotion.
Mhm.
Like they have at the start of the movie, they have him kill the dog, his wife dies. Like they really bring us down to the rock bottom with this guy
Yeah.
so we can like pull for him as he's fighting through. And yes, at the start of this movie, we see her dad get killed,
Mhm.
but that's kind of like that's what they said they didn't want to do with the first one. They were like, okay, we don't want to just have some assassin kill this guy's wife because we've
Mhm.
seen it a billion times. They're like, we want something a
Yeah.
little bit heavier. And then
Mhm.
they went and did that in this one, and he just like, okay, someone kills your dad and now you got to go and get revenge for him. Seen it a
Yeah.
gajillion times before. It's not, I think we need something more, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah, I remember I was kinda, like, thinking, like, different ways. Like, I was thinking, I was like, "Okay, I figured it was gonna be some kind of revenge thing because I didn't know going in what her motivations were gonna be. So I
Hmm.
kinda anticipated that because it's like, what else makes someone go into this crazy rage, you know what I mean? Like, to even, like, to become a assassin or do these kind of things. It wouldn't just be because, like, "Oh, well, I guess I like fighting or I like hand-to-hand
Killing
combat, so I guess
people.
I'm"
Yeah.
yeah, "so I guess I'm just gonna become an assassin," you know what I mean? Like, I assumed there was gonna be some kinda crazy, like, revenge kinda aspect to it, but yeah, no, you're right though. It's I think it's kind of a tough place to put yourself in though. I like creatively when you think about it, because it's like, what else can you really do
Yeah. Yeah. I
in
mean,
that sense?
that's a fair point, but I mean, this is why we go to the movies and this is why people
Yeah.
get paid millions of
No,
dollars is like
100%. Yeah.
to come up with new ideas and have
Yeah.
fresh stuff on the screen. But I'm getting the sense that you liked it more than I did. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I there's definitely parts that I didn't like. I really like you said. I really like that the action was great. There are aspects of it that I probably lean towards you in the sense of like, oh, like this is that's why this is different than John Wick, and some of it and it didn't work for that reason, or these things did
Mhm.
work. And like I think there's aspects of it like I'd take like the fighting style for example. Like I liked how it like that was different because you can't do it, especially because like Anna or playing Eve, like she's smaller and it's not like
Mhm.
John Wick was like this brute force. Like he wasn't like the Rock in Fast and Furious. Take a shot. That's your Fast and Furious mention of the
That was an
episode.
early one, man.
That was a early one.
6 minutes
Not
in.
not throwing you around and stuff like that. It's just it's
Yeah, yeah,
guns and stuff like that. So like with her, even though she could just be like a sniper like John Wick, they also got her like doing in like the close combat and the way the fights happen, like when she had like a bigger opponent and like they talked and they mentioned that like, oh, you gotta change, you gotta set the tone of or like you gotta set the grounds of what the fight is. So
Mhm.
I thought that something that they did differently, and I thought that worked with it. But there is some other things, and I'm gonna tease it. We're gonna get to more of those things later. There is some things that I feel like probably did and didn't work with the movie, and just the different things they tried. But
Mhm.
the fighting style is definitely something I thought that they did well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That was what we talked about in the first not first episode, but John Wick 1.
Yeah.
Um how what we were excited for to see kind of how they do the different fighting style because she's a
Mm.
woman. So you just to make it believable, she has to fight a little bit differently. Like we're not going to believe she's just going to be like Captain America catching Thanos's fist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's not real. So they had to get creative with how she's going to be fighting and killing people, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fighting was amazing. She was great in it too.
Yeah.
I was interested to see how she would do, like
Mhm.
not taking over for Keanu, but in
Yeah.
the same pseudo John Wick role in this movie. And she was awesome. Like the way
Yeah.
she's flipping around and the shooting was good. And there was some comedic points that they
Yeah.
put in act worked into the fighting, which
It's
they've
always
kind
been
of
there.
always, yeah, it's always been there, but I
Yeah.
feel like they've really leaned into it the last couple movies. Like John Wick 4 was
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. I was just gonna say that too. Like, I think it becomes those things where it's just like you don't want to take yourself too seriously as you keep making more and more of them. So you make them a little bit lighter. I
Mhm.
noticed that I knew it is true. Like you definitely notice like the tilt of more humor
Yeah,
as
and
the
it's
as the
awesome.
movies go on. Yeah, and it works too because it's like sometimes it's like a dry humor, or it's just like it's not even someone like saying a punchline. It's just something that kind of will happen in a fight where it's just like, okay, that was kind of awkward or
Yeah, like
whatever it
when
is.
they're breaking the plates over each other's
Yeah.
head, like her and the restaurant girl, and they're just looking for the gun, smashing plates. Hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Just simple stuff like that.
Yeah,
But hey, do you have any do we have any thoughts from the family this week? I didn't
we
even
do.
we do? Oh, so I guess it's time. I guess it's time to get into
I don't
the
have friends. I got family.
mm,
Hey, yeah, you're right. We do got something from the film family. This is the
hey.
family meeting. We don't got friends. We got family. And so this is the part of the show where we get the audience's opinion, and you guys could join the show. Listeners can voice their opinion. So I asked on our Instagram story.
Yeah.
I asked, how do you think Ana de Armas will do in this world? Kind of like I was just talking about how I wasn't sure how she would do take
Mhm.
over for Keanu. 60% said she's going to kill it. 40% of people said they're not really sure, but they'll
Mhm.
give her a chance. And then so 0%, I put the other option, say, man, she ain't no Keanu. And so people had
Okay.
at least some hype for her, you know. They
Yeah,
had
yeah,
some
yeah.
faith in her that no one said that, nope, she's gonna be trash. Some
Yeah.
people were down for it, some people weren't so sure, but I talked about I think she was great in the action. What do you think she did? How did you
No,
think she did?
again, like I agree, and I think it has to do with like I don't think there's any like I think people have hope in the franchise in itself of just like what they're gonna do with from delivering of like the action stuff like that. Like I don't think people are expecting like, oh, is she gonna have the same emotional tones and have like a great monologue like John Wick usually, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think anyone's like that. They're like, I think the action's gonna be good because like I don't know, I feel like not necessarily saying you could put anybody there, but I feel like the people have come to this series 4 times now already, not including this movie, and they've delivered on the action and the crazy stunts and stuff like that. So they're like, I can't imagine just because they added another person in there that they're gonna completely fall off from that. And I feel like the fans are optimistic because they're like, oh, this is gonna be we're gonna get something different. It's not gonna have the same feel because it's not John Wick, but I know we're gonna get something special here because just because how much effort and time they put into these crazy stunt pieces and
Yeah,
action
so you're
sets.
so you're giving more credit to like kind of the crew, like the behind the
Yeah.
scenes, like in the way they direct the action, the way they write the action, the way they edit the
Yeah.
action, like all that stuff is all you can have the same team around, even though you're swapping out Keanu for Ana de Armas.
Mhm.
The action can still deliver, but it also can go wrong. You know,
No,
like
that's true.
they can try something new and then it doesn't work, or you have
That is a good point.
she just isn't doing well in the action. It just looks choppy. It's not
Yeah.
believable, you know. But I I think she totally killed it in
That
this
is a
world.
good
And I mean,
point.
all the acting side of
Mhm.
it, like non-physical acting, not just the action. Thought she was great as well. I mean, she doesn't have a ton of to do in this movie as far as like acting. Like there are a couple like twists that happen that you're, I guess, supposed to not see coming. I don't know
Mhm.
those none of those twists work for me. I found them all super predictable, like
Okay. Well,
who her
actually,
family is and stuff. But
I disagree. Actually,
oh,
some
really?
of them got me. I mean, I will go more. Which is the one that you're talking about specifically?
Specifically the one where, well, big spoiler warning, by the way.
Oh yeah,
We're
yeah. We're
gonna
getting
be
into
spoiling
spoiler
the movie.
territory.
I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
guess
we
we
probably
hadn't.
already have.
Yeah,
Have we
probably.
spoiled it?
I don't know if we
Anyways,
did, but now we're heading into spoiler
yeah,
territory.
we're gonna
Yeah.
fully spoil. So the her sister, when
Yeah.
the girl that's like under the chancellor
Yeah.
of the cult, um, literally as soon as she was like, oh, you were trying to get me too, like I was you were trying to come after me and you killed my dad, when she said that to the chancellor, and he's like, oh really? And then the girl pulled up. I was like, that's her sister. That's probably her
Mm.
sister or something. And then
I don't
he's
know.
like,
I
that's your
didn't.
sister. I was like, God, come
I
on. All
didn't
right.
even I didn't honestly didn't clue into that because maybe I didn't hear that part. I don't know. I don't remember her saying that. Like to me when she first pulled up like when she was in the like in that Continental like I don't
Yeah.
know, was that in Prague? I can't
Prague.
remember. Yeah, that one was in
That one
Prague,
was
yeah.
sick, dude. The big circle
Oh, yeah.
door.
I thought it was the red circle spot for a second. I was like, is this
Mm.
that same club? I was confused. I was like, is this like another club that's just in another area? But then yeah, then you see the sea, but yeah, I don't know why. Like, I don't know my mind because I think I just accepted it's like her sister's dead, so I wasn't even looking for like any connection of like maybe her sister actually is alive and we're gonna see her in this movie. I don't know if your mind was working that way, like already thinking that like oh her maybe she's gonna see her sister later on in this movie,
Well,
but
I don't
I
even.
just completely accepted that like her sister's dead, and then that thought never occurred to me that she was ever gonna be in this movie.
Well, I didn't. They didn't even say that she had a sister early on, right? So I didn't. I wasn't like, "Where's her sister at?" I don't. Or
No, in the beginning, didn't you say
did her
like
dad say that?
in the beginning? Yeah, her dad mentioned that like oh like your sister there's something about like, I don't remember her. Like, I
Hmm.
wish I remembered her. Yeah, 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 it
Okay.
was that. Like, like he's like, "Oh, that was something to do with the." I think I don't know if like that toy was like her sister or whatever. And she's like, "Oh yeah, something about your
Oh,
sister."
could
She's like,
be.
"Yeah, I wish I remember her." And I was like, "Oh, okay, your
Okay.
sister's dead." And I assumed that like she was dead and is a bit confirmed dead. So I was just like, "Oh, okay, sister's gone." So
Right.
that's why to me I was just like, "Okay, I don't know why they mentioned that her sister's dead. So that probably should have been an inkling to me that that maybe she might be in this movie. But I was like, okay, she has a dead sister. Just
Well,
something to be
and her
sad about it.
mom, it could be the same thing. Like they already talked about they want to do they're already planning to do a sequel on this, and you could see that
Yeah.
the way they ended it.
Mhm.
Um, but so her mom, same thing. Like we didn't see her, and maybe they led us to believe that her mom's dead, but that would be a super predictable thing for them to
Yeah.
do in the sequel, and that's what I mean. That was kind of the thing with the sister. I was like, she was like, oh, this is, or the chancellor was like, okay, that's interesting. I was going after you, which means you were part of the cult, or because this is what they're going after. Everyone who was part of the cult, you never leave this cult.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't even know what like tipped me off, but as soon as she walked in the room, I was like, she's probably her sister or something.
Mm.
I thought he was maybe gonna say cousin, and then he literally instantly said sister, and I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Not
yeah, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, we're already kind of like talking about the whole origin thing. So I'm just kind of curious like how you compare, cuz like they're different origin stories. Like in the
Hmm.
in the concept of like how they showed us John Wick, it was like here's the fully formed character and we're going to get all the hype up, which again we both talked about how much we really enjoyed. And in this they obviously didn't want to do the same route, which I'm glad they didn't, where it's like we're going to see Elle in her final form, and then maybe we're gonna get flashbacks or something. Like I'm glad they didn't do
Hmm.
that. I didn't mind them doing the showing her from a young age and then slowly building her up. Like I'm curious. Obviously, you said there's aspects that you didn't like, but just that, like that opening part, did you find that was
Yeah,
a
yeah, I did
interesting way
like
to
that.
start?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Like it's different from what we did with John Wick. John Wick was already like, okay, this guy is already a master assassin.
Yeah,
We're not seeing him build his way up. We get kind of hints of it throughout the movie about his past, and then in later movies we kind of see his connection to Ruscaroma and to like all these other things. But this way they went a different route. You're right. We see her. I mean, we see her as a child fully, but then we see her as
yeah,
the ballerina, and then learning to fight and all this stuff. I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting, like to get a little bit of more of a sense of the Ruscaroma, because we see it in John Wick 3.
yeah,
Like when John goes there, we kind of see them practicing fighting a little bit. We see the ballet dancers,
mhm,
but to show how they transition them from ballet to assassins, or just kind of how it works, the inner workings of the Ruscaroma. I thought it was great. I thought it was interesting. Like that's one thing that we love about these movies is like this world. So learning more
yeah.
about the Ruscaroma and the underground world was awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was interesting to see the. And again, this is the difference too, because we see she's more from like coming from like a struggling place, because obviously she's just learning. So we're not everything's not clean. She gets better as the movie progresses, but like seeing her like struggle with like just doing the ballet routine, and then even when they're training practicing, she's getting her ass kicked. So it was
Hmm.
interesting to see that, because I was like, oh, this is very different. Like we're not, again, like I was saying, we're not seeing like this fully formed character. So I enjoyed it too. I thought it was interesting, and like you said, just to see more of the process. I think there's aspects of it maybe we could have got more of, and I
Like
don't
what?
necessarily. Well, I don't know, just more lore within that, just that how that family in itself.
Okay.
Like I feel like I wanted more mystery for
Mm,
whatever like in the sense of like how they do the lore in the John Wick thing of just like they don't tell us everything. It's just like we have these characters just like, oh, you better watch out for that guy, or like this kind of thing. I don't know. I
mm,
just like that aspects of the movie where it's just like they give us this mystery, or they only give us like these little pieces of things where like I feel like they kind of just showed us how like that world worked, and like I felt like I wanted to like to have like a little bit of like, ooh, like I wonder what that means, or like, oh, is that gonna
yeah.
come back? I feel like we didn't get that.
That's actually a really good point. You're right. Like they could have had her more connected to when John Wick showed up. Like they
Hmm.
talk for a bit. She's like, "You're the one, right? You're the one they call the Baba Yaga." And they
Yeah.
talk for a little bit. He says, "Get out," but she could have maybe done a little bit more there to help him get to Casablanca, which is what
Mm.
in the third movie he shows up for.
Yeah.
Or you're right, they could have had like almost not a flashback, but almost like a character that shows up and shows how the Ruscaroma had this connection to the cult, because the director, right? She's talking about, we have this 1,000-year uh agreement with them that they don't mess with us, we don't mess with them, everything's
Mm.
good. Like we could have had a little bit more of that. They could have
Yeah.
showed us like how that started or something, like have a or she could even just talk about the director before me and their chancellor, gotten there was a whole war and this happened,
Mhm.
and here's all the bodies on the or like the drawings of all the bodies on the wall from what happened. Like
Yeah.
there could be more there. I totally agree with that. And
No.
that's actually something that I think they do in all the other movies, but we didn't get in this one, is added something extra to the
Yeah.
world.
No, for sure. And I think that was part of my thing that I was saying, where I was like, there's the aspects of it where I was like, didn't love it as much as that. And that was a bit where I was like, there's these little pieces. They did add a lot. This movie in itself is adding to the lore. Like there's
True.
so much of this is things we didn't see and we didn't know about from the other John Wick. So I'm not gonna say that they didn't add anything to the lore, but within this movie, I felt like they could have added more lore and more like mystery and more intrigue into it, and that's just how I felt. I felt with that.
Yeah, I think like in the well, I mean, even the
Like the cult itself is adding lore to
that's
the.
true. The cult itself that's the one thing that I think is like adding this is an extra group because there's all these groups. There's the Russians. There's the when he goes to Japan or is
Yeah.
it China? And I think it's
In,
Japan.
okay. Yeah.
And the different continentals and
Yeah.
they're it's another group, I guess, that they're adding with the cult. But like in the second one, we got like the marker.
Yeah.
We learned about the marker that you can use that you have a favor with someone. That was a new thing. In
Yeah.
the third one, we get the whole excommunicado thing. That was a new
Yeah.
wrinkle that they added. The Ruscaroma itself was new in the third. In the fourth, we get all the high table stuff and
Yeah.
like the duel and everything. Like these are all like it's adding to the lore, but to me, it's an extra piece of it. Like this is another way of how this world works. Like you can go to the high table and have a duel.
Yeah.
In this one there wasn't anything like that. There was the cult where it's like, okay, there's another group, but there wasn't a whole extra aspect where I don't know what it would be, but it
Mhm.
would be like this is an extra thing to show some like another unwritten rule of this world or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%. And like as we're talking about like John Wick and all those things, so I was kind of curious, like how did you feel about his addition to this movie? Do you feel well? Yeah, just that's straight up the question, I guess. How do you feel about John Wick being in this movie? I understand why they did it for a marketing reason,
Mm-hmm.
but like, did he need to be in the movie, or did he need to be more? Maybe did he need to be in it less?
Well, I honestly, he came into the when she was still at the Rescaroma and training, and she's a ballerina, and then he comes through, and we see him walking down the stairs, and it's like the cameo of this is what we saw in the third movie, and then
Yeah.
he talks to her for a bit. I kind of thought that would be it, and to
Hmm.
me that would have been fine. That would have been
Yeah.
enough. When he came back at the end, like he didn't really do much.
Yeah. That's how kind of I felt too. I was like, I understand why you guys brought him in here, because it's the name of the movie is John Wick, the world of John Wick, Ballerina or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, guys, like, and then they have him on and like there's a couple posters that have him on it too. I'm like,
Hmm.
this movie's not really about him. I guess if you want to fool some people, they're like some casual, they'll be like, oh, it's another John Wick movie, I guess, but it's called
Right.
Ballerina. So maybe you'll get some ticket buyers that are just fooled by that. But like, as someone that's already like locked into this world, to me, it didn't really matter. Like if they said that he wasn't gonna be in this movie at all, I was still gonna watch it.
Yeah.
So, but I understand why they put him in it. I thought that we were literally just gonna get that talking scene, maybe like another phone call or something. But
Hmm.
when he came back, I think it was a fun thing, because we get like the final last words, especially like when he starts to help her and everything. She's just like you want to go get that's John Wick, like it's a suicide mission. It's just like he's just one man.
I
Famous
loved
final
it.
words.
Oh my god, I wrote the same thing down. I was like, "This is you haven't seen any of the first movies, have you?
Yeah,
You don't know John Wick. He's just one man. It was perfect. I love
yeah,
that
no, that
they
was
added that in.
exactly. That's what that enough was like why I was glad that he came back.
Yeah,
Until
that was
that
great.
moment, I was like, okay, don't be. And then when he's like, he's just one man, I'm like, all right, show them, John. You're not just one man. You're not just one man.
Yeah, that one we needed a cutaway to Vigo like that one man is John Wick.
Oh
Oh, that
my
was so
goodness.
great.
But yeah, no, it's always, I'm not gonna complain about seeing Keanu in the movie or seeing John Wick. I obviously love the character, but to me, it felt very much like he was the mascot. It
Yeah.
was just like, hey, remember this is in this John Wick world. Like it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like he needed to be there. And again, it didn't ruin the movie for me or anything, or I was just like, oh man, like his presence was like it ruined the character of John Wick. With him, like it didn't
No,
not
yeah.
nothing that extreme. It was just like I think they just put him in there just because they're like, this is the big guy, and we just got to show his face.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think they like honestly, if they were gonna have him in the movie in that role, like to that less of an impact,
Yeah,
honestly, like don't give me that in the trailer. Like don't have
yeah,
him on the poster. Don't have him on the trailer. They're gonna be going wondering like, are we gonna see John Wick? Like we
yeah.
know it's from the you could say from the world of John Wick. Like yeah,
Hmm.
but don't. Went into this knowing he was gonna be in it,
Yeah.
and then like when he shows up at the Ruscaroma, then you're like, oh shit, that's him. And then they have that conversation, and then you're like, okay, we got a nice little cameo, great. And then when he comes back later in the movie, you see him walking off the train. Then you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
John Wick's here. This is about to get fucking crazy, like. But it didn't have that punch because I knew.
Yeah, and he didn't really have like he had his scene, like the scene we're talking about, but it
Hmm.
wasn't like a John Wick scene. You know what I mean?
No,
It was just like a it was just like it was still a good action scene, but I agree to your point. And you know what? I think that was like a marketing thing because I remember when they first like because this movie was supposed to come out a year ago. I don't know why it got pushed
yeah,
back. I don't know for whatever reason.
I do
Oh, you actually
actually.
do
It
have some
was
reasons? Oh, you do know
well,
the reason, sorry?
it was a whole bunch of reshoots. So apparently there
Oh,
was
okay.
apparently the freaking the first test screenings of the director's cut went terrible.
Oh,
Everyone said
really?
like this is horrible. It's like the
Yeah.
death of the franchise. Like
Oh my goodness.
that's maybe a little much, but like
Yeah,
everyone was
yeah.
like apparently it went really really bad. So Chad Stahelski, who's
Mhm.
the producer, one of the producers of this, and directed all the four John Wicks, uh, spent months doing reshoots without Len Wiseman, who is the director of this movie,
Damn.
involved.
Yeah.
That's They both deny that he wasn't involved. Like they admit the reshoots happened,
Mhm.
but they said that they did it collaboratively.
Yeah.
But apparently, there's people that said that it was just Stahelski that came in and said like, "No, this is terrible. I got to fix this," which
Yeah,
is never good.
you're gonna ruin my thing, man.
Exactly. This is John Wick. We're not letting you ruin this shit.
That's
So that's
crazy.
why I got pushed.
And the funny thing is I was seeing the behind the scenes and I only really saw him in those behind the scenes. I didn't
There
see
you
two
go.
directors collaborating.
There
I
you
just
go.
saw one. So I think I think that kind of that shows you what really happened. But yeah, no. What was it? What was the point I was gonna say about that? About the reshoots. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you said it got
When they
pushed.
no, I remember now.
Okay.
When they originally came out with it, I remember it being a mystery. I remember fans
Mm,
thinking like, I wonder if John Wick's gonna be in here. And then when they were teasing it initially, there was no mention of him being in there. Everyone was kind of like, I wonder. And I think that would have just been like a nice fan service thing, like classic Marvel thing, where it's just like you see, but now just like Marvel, a la freaking Thor Ragnarok. It should have been a surprise when the Hulk pulled up. Spoiler, I guess, if you haven't seen that movie, but we saw
yeah.
they showed it in the trailer. It
Hmm.
would have been a cool thing, like, oh, who's he gonna fight? And it's like, oh, snap, the Hulk is in this movie, but like, no, they showed it in the trailer. So like, when the part comes up in the movie and it's supposed to be a surprise, we all know what's gonna happen. Only person
Yeah.
surprised is Thor. So it's just like, why not just keep that as a surprise? Like
Yeah.
people weren't gonna go see Thor, if
Yeah. Exactly.
especially at
Yeah.
that
I mean,
time.
you're right. Like that would have been perfect fan service. It's like this is the fifth movie of the franchise. You've watched all four, or maybe you haven't, but we appreciate you coming on along for this ride. If you love those movies, this is why you're here. John Wick, Keanu Reeves is why you're here.
Yeah,
So here's Keanu, here's John Wick. We'll give you a little cameo, but yeah, make it a surprise. And or if I know he's going to be in this movie, maybe he has a real integral part to this,
yeah,
and then I see him get to like really kick ass and go crazy, and then I'm like, okay, this is John Wick. Like it's not
yeah.
his movie, but then I feel like you can't have it both ways. Don't show me he's going to be in there, and then also want me to be surprised when it happens.
Yeah, I will say, just like you said, with the way you got excited, I got excited too when you saw him the second time. I was like, oh, I thought
Mm,
we were done with him. Like I didn't know
yeah,
we were gonna get more of him, but I think it just fell flat because when I saw him and Eve go face to face, I'm like, nothing's gonna happen here.
yeah. Neither
This
of them
isn't
are
gonna be a
dying.
fight
Yeah,
to the death. This is like a la, to keep it in the same vein of anime. This is like whenever we see Goku and Vegeta fight, nothing's gonna
mm,
happen here because Goku is not gonna kill Vegeta. Vegeta wants to kill Goku. If he probably like he'll try his hardest to, but
yeah,
Goku is more powerful than him, and he's just gonna fight with him just to fight with him. But there's not going to be any killing here or anything like that. So there's just going to be a roll around.
Yeah. And that's all it was. They roll around and then he's like, I'm
Literally.
giving you one chance to get out. I'm telling you could still get out. No, I can't get out. He killed my dad. Get out. And it's like, all right, man, we get it. You want her to leave and she wants to kill the guy. And then he's like, okay, I'll give you to midnight. And then he has this one moment where he can save her from the dude with the flamethrower. I was
Yeah.
talking to my buddy Jordy yesterday. He
Yeah.
was saying, because he watched it and his one point was like too much flamethrower. What do you think of that? Did you think
There was a
did you
lot
like
of
the
it in
flamethrower?
4 though. Is that
Flamethrowers?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that at first, part of me I was like, oh, they're gonna do this again. Like they just kind of did this in the 4th one. But I feel like this one was different because I think they went an extra level with it. So I didn't mind it. I didn't mind. I feel like it's a visual. It looks visually cool, especially the different angles and stuff you can get with it. But as far as like the impact of how it looks in a fight, it doesn't look as menacing as some of the other things. But obviously it
Mhm.
is. It's guy getting burned alive. But for whatever, it doesn't
Yeah.
look as extreme as someone like getting a knife thrown at their head or something like that. Or it's like crazy, like her killing someone with skates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
That
that
was
stuff's
cool.
wild. But like a flamethrower, it kind of yeah, for whatever reason, I guess it doesn't hit as hard. Visually it does, but like the actual like impact of like like when you see someone get messed up and you're like, ooh, 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 like you don't go ooh, ooh for flamethrowers. It's kind of like, oh snap.
Yeah, that is that's it's weird because I agree with you, but I shouldn't. Like burning alive is
I know.
awful. Like that's apparently like the most painful way to go out, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that would be absolutely terrible. Whereas like an axe to the face is like an instant death. Like it's
Yeah.
almost painless. But you're right, you see it and you're like, oof, like damn, that looks
Yeah,
graphic and
for what
crazy. But someone burning alive, you're like, he's all right.
yeah, I don't know why. For whatever I realized that in that moment, as I was watching, I'm like, yeah, this looks cooler than it actually gives me like a feeling. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, like you're not like exactly like all those things I said. It's like like the ooh, that's gonna hurt. Like oh man, that's rough. But like
Hmm.
you see someone on fire, you're just eating your popcorn. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I don't know why. For whatever reason, it doesn't hit as hard.
Even though it would actually be worse, I think.
Yeah,
Like
I think the
if
same.
would you rather die
Yeah,
with a knife to the face or burned alive?
I mean, I hope the knife to the face would be instant death because otherwise
That's what
that'd
I'm
be pretty
saying.
rough. Yeah, that's I think
Yeah.
you'd lean there. But again, another way to die which should be horrible would be like freezing to death. But I feel like visually seeing someone freeze to death in a freezer you wouldn't be like ooh, you'd be like you just watch it the same way you'd watch the flamethrower. Would be like
Yeah,
oh
you're
snap,
right. I wonder why that
he froze
is.
to death.
What is
I
that, you think?
don't know. I don't know what it is because I guess you just can't. You need to watch in 40x. Then you can. Then
Mm,
you get hot in the room. You get cold in the room. Then you
yeah.
can ooh and ah. That was our mistake. That's my mistake. I apologize to the producers of Ballerina. I should have watched in 4D. That's why I didn't
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that scene as much. And Jordan. That's why Jordan
Exactly.
didn't feel it either. I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know if
you're
he
right.
watched
Good
in
point.
4D. I'm assuming he didn't.
I'm assuming not because
Yeah.
4D is awful. Because like again with the like you're right, like it would have more punch if I'm like freezing cold or hot, but
Yeah.
like I don't want to go through that. I want to watch people go through this. Like the same thing like in 4D, like obviously they're not actually doing it, but like I wouldn't want a knife in my face.
Yeah.
I want to
Exactly.
see someone die because it looks crazy, but I don't want to experience it. So like
No.
watching a
100%.
movie in 4D is like I'm going to the movie to watch people go through horrific shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Exactly.
go through it myself.
100%. Yeah.
Miss me with 4D.
100%. Um, I guess like we talked about how the lore of like adding in like the cult and stuff like that that adds to the lore. But I'm curious to see was there any other or curious to hear, sorry, was there any other aspects of the lore that popped up in this movie that you wanted to mention that you thought that worked for you?
Well, you mentioned the cult, and
Yeah.
that was kind of one thing that I didn't like as much about this
Okay.
movie. I mean, it's kind of like we talked about with the club scene where it's like, okay, who is this person? Why is she protecting her? Like, I don't really know anything, so I don't care because they
Mhm.
don't make me care. Kind of the same thing with the cult. Like, what is the cult? Like
Okay, yeah.
like they what they tell about is like, okay, nobody leaves this cult. Where they hate outsiders. You
Mhm.
know, they kill like the whole town will come in and fight together and kill
Yeah.
outsiders. They're training the kids. They have like the targets at the school and stuff. So like they kill people, I guess. But like
Mhm.
other than that, they seem pretty normal. They were just working at a restaurant. There was
Yeah.
the girl in the store selling the ballerina things. There was the like the butcher that's just has it looks like a regular town outside
Yeah.
of the killing stuff, and
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
assuming
good
they're
point.
not killing each other, they're just killing outsiders. So like what is the cult? You know, he's like, we have 1,000 years of the chancellor never leaving this
Yeah.
spot and blah blah blah. So 1,000 years of what? What is the cult?
Yeah. No, it's a good point. And like part of me, like, I understand when they explained that they just wanted to have their own thing. Like they didn't want to be part of that specific world. So like we're gonna have our own thing. We're gonna have our own rules. But like it kind of felt like they kind of live the similar way of the way they live. Cause like we've seen throughout the other movies where it's like you'll see people kind of like living regular lives, but they're actually assassin in disguise.
Hmm.
Or like you know what I mean? So like I feel like they're kind of living their same kind of there's maybe I missed like specific differences of why like, oh, the difference between them and us is that we can do this and they have to do that. But like it feels like the most both assassin groups or like whatever you're part of, you're pretty free to do what you want. Cause at the end of the day, they still have a freaking top boss that they have to listen to. They're not
Hmm.
completely free.
Yeah.
Like they're I don't know.
See, and like the Ruscaroma, like if you compare it to the Ruscaroma, let's say, right, which
Hmm.
is in theory you could say kind of like a cult as well, right?
Yeah.
So, but they show us kind of how it works.
Yeah.
And they don't give us everything. And you made the point earlier that we could have even gotten a little bit more, and I agree with that. But we still understand, like even from the past John Wick movies, like they have this big tattoo on the back that you get from your initiation, and you have this chain that you can call in for like a service, almost like a
Yeah.
favor. This is like this whole brotherhood. We have the ballerinas and the fighting system. We don't get any of that with the cult. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get introduced to the cult. I don't know what your job is when you're in there. Like what you're right. Like what is the difference between them and the rest of the world? Even though they say, okay, we want to be so isolated from them, they still have access to the continentals. Like they're
Yeah.
what's the difference? What is the
Yeah.
cult? I like that. And so because they didn't explain that, I just didn't care as much. Like you have to make
Hmm.
me care about these people.
Yeah, that's one twist that I will say that did get me. That was the other twist I was thinking of. Like when when Eve got to that restaurant, whatever it is,
That
I
yeah,
thought I didn't realize that everybody was in on it. I thought that was like
same.
there was a town and there was some of them, but when everybody was like started getting into it, I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize it was popping like that.
You're right. That did get me. Because yeah, there's like the people sitting there like eating lunch or whatever, and then
Yeah.
they start fighting and they run out of the restaurant. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's totally reasonable reaction. People start you're just eating lunch and then people start trying to kill each other. You're just gonna leave. And then
Yeah.
they start grabbing guns and coming back in, and then like the worker starts grabbing a knife. I was like,
Yeah.
what? That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That surprised me. And
Yeah.
honestly, for a split second, even when she was upstairs, that got me too. And she's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you." And then when it paused there for a bit, I'm like, "Oh, she's not worried about you hurting you."
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was like, "No, she's in on it too." I'm like, "Okay, this is crazy." I didn't realize this whole town is the cult. I thought it was like they were hiding within this town because it's so isolated. I didn't realize it was like, no, this whole thing is it. So that
See,
actually got me, which I thought was interesting.
you're right. That got me too. But the thing about the town was like when we got to that point, another reason why I guess the twist works is because I didn't think we were at the cult's hideout yet.
Mm,
Because like the right before this, Eve, she's at the gunsmith's shop, right?
yeah.
And then that was also, I don't want to say a twist, but kind of like a moment, I guess, that's supposed to surprise you, catch you unexpected when they started shooting up the gun shop.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
expect that.
No, I
Like
didn't
she
expect
was
that
like
either. Too.
getting ready, like looking at the guns. He's doing the classic John Wick thing. Okay, we got an Excalibur
Yeah,
3000 and it's got
yeah.
this and rubber bullets and this sight and blah blah blah. And she's looking over, and then the door explodes. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I
That
know.
got me.
No, that got me too, especially because like I wrote it down because I thought it was funny because he was just like right at that moment too. And this one's my favorite. That's all. That's like
Mm.
that's another humor, like a hilarious moment too. He's like, all right, now I'm about to show you my favorite, and then the shots start popping off. We never see what his favorite was.
Oh, you're
I
right.
wrote that down. I'm like,
Oh
damn,
man,
bro, what the heck was his favorite?
our boy Frank. Let
Yeah,
me be Frank, and he's just
yeah,
they zoom in on the name tag.
yeah.
I
No,
was
no.
like, wow,
That
okay,
again, that's another part of them leaning into their goofiness.
exactly, yeah, yeah. But yeah. So right at the end of this, right, he's like, okay, you didn't hear this from me. Pulls out the map, and he's like, okay, the exact location isn't really known, but it's somewhere kind of in these
Yeah,
mountains.
areas. Yeah,
So she pulls up to the mountains and just finds them. I thought he didn't know where it was. Like I thought I was like, okay, she got to this town and maybe she's gonna ask around or she'll
Yeah.
see someone with the X on their wrist and like follow them or like I thought there was gonna be a big mountaintop hideout or something. Like I thought there was
Mhm.
more to it. So when she sits down in the restaurant and then shit start popping off and then they start joining in, I was like, oh, this is the cult.
Yeah.
Like she's here. I was
I
kind
guess
of
Frank
like,
was
oh,
lying when he said he didn't hear this from me. I mean, he meant it when he said he didn't hear this from me because he knew the exact location apparently.
yeah, I don't know where it is, but it's right here.
Yeah, yeah. That's why he said he didn't hear from me because I'm
But then
giving the
why?
exact location.
But then why did he even say, I don't know, it's somewhere in these mountains? Just be like, here it is. It's right here. There's a town here and they're all in on it. Well,
May-
maybe he didn't know that.
Yeah,
But
maybe they're slowly expanding. Maybe he didn't realize that they got to that point yet. He's like,
maybe.
they're last time I remember they were in a tighter knit. Like they're slowly expanding. Like they're getting
Yeah.
bigger and bigger.
Okay, I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
I'll
Yeah.
give,
I'll give you
give that
that.
to
That's
Frank. I don't know.
it.
There was another aspect of the lore too, like going back to the what's it called? What's it called? The Rosa
Ruscaroma?
Ruscaroma. Yeah, the test. Like
Mm.
I thought the test thing was cool in the sense of like it was her and the other girl. And like there's a little aspect, but this is a little bit of lore, which is a little bit of that mystery because it had me wondering. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Where she's like, oh, like how the mighty have fallen. Is like this is gonna be new in 10 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
what
That was cool.
happened? I was like,
Yeah.
what happened? Like what? How did she end up here? Like what? That I thought that was cool. I don't know if that's ever gonna be anything that's we're ever gonna get answered. But I'm like, what? Why? How do you end up there? Like
Yeah.
what do you have to do
I'm
to?
assuming you do something wrong. Like if you
Mhm.
do something think about here's what's gonna happen. Second
Okay.
movie.
Okay. Yeah.
She went against the director's will, right? She told her, don't mess with this group. We have this agreement. Don't mess with them. And she kept calling her saying, stop doing this. You could
Yeah.
still stop. And she kept going against her will. So in the second one, now she's excommunicado, or she's not excommunicado, but there's big, the bounty on her. She's
Yeah.
going to be fighting people off, blah, 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 blah. Going to go to the Rescaroma and she's going to be like, no, you didn't. I told you to stop doing this. You kept going. Now you're the test. And you get in
Mm.
there. But you're right. That was a cool aspect, like adding that into the lore. And this is what I mean. Like, this is another aspect of how you get into the Ruscaroma, how you
Yeah.
become an assassin for the Ruscaroma. Didn't get any of that for the cult, which
Yeah.
I don't like. But like, if you're going into that knowing what the test is, Eve doesn't know what the test is. How do
Yeah,
you
that's so
lose?
true. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, she said the
Like,
mighty
you
is
should be
fallen.
waiting
Like,
for
was she
that
drunk
bullet.
or something? Yeah, that's what I'm
Mm,
saying.
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, they roughed her up beforehand,
That's true.
or I
That's
don't know if
true.
that was they roughed her up beforehand or they found her be like doing not like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many questions. I don't know. We don't know how she ended up there. We don't know why she was beat up, and we don't know why she had to take that test.
Right. And that's
I
the
don't know.
beauty of John Wick is they give you
Yeah,
just enough to want a little bit more. Right?
exactly.
You're right in this position. Like, what happened? Who is she? How did this happen? What is
Hmm.
that's fantastic. And like I'm saying this stuff about the cult, how I wanted to like I didn't like that I didn't get enough. Where at the same time saying like don't give us too much,
Yeah,
but they didn't give us anything.
yeah. You
So
want
like
something in the
you leave
middle.
that air of
Yeah.
mystery, but still like make me care.
Yeah, like the one thing they did give us is that the kids in school, like they have it structured as like it's act like they have kids like actually in like a school environment, like they're teaching them like school things
And to
where
fight.
it looks like, huh? Yeah, and to fight. So they gave us that little bit of like, okay, this is how they build up the kids, but they didn't give us much more than that. I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
of, I'm just trying to remember the things that they did give us. Like, okay,
It's
because
not much.
that's what the kids are doing, but it really isn't. We don't really see how the adults train. Are they learning a specific? Like, you just want to imagine that, like, even though every single organization has their own like spots that they're at, they all train differently. You know what I mean? Like they do ballerina and they are doing like jujitsu and all that stuff, and then what are they doing? Are they
Mhm.
doing kickboxing? Are they learning like what type of fighting styles are they? Are they learning completely different fighting styles? Is that why you want to join the cult? Because you want to learn that maybe it's a forbidden style of fighting or something. You know what I mean? And that's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what
Because we didn't
that's
get any of that.
yeah, like they use throwing stars and no one else uses throwing stars. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like in 4 when they're at the Continental and they're about to start fighting and they open up the freezers and it's like katanas and stuff. Like all
Yeah.
the first movies was guns and things and I saw
Yeah.
katanas, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be insane."
No,
This one we
exactly.
did, yeah, I don't know. Like something sets all these groups apart and nothing
Yeah.
set the cult apart. I don't know. I don't know what the cult is.
No, 100%. Yeah, and it's honestly like as we're just talking through this, I'm realizing it too. I'm like, yeah, they didn't give us too much of it because like, and this isn't an excuse. Like, it shouldn't be this way. It's like you focus more on like Eva's story, but like if you're gonna introduce this other aspect of the lore to the movie, you got to give us that in detail too, because that's as fans, that's what we've been accustomed to. You've shown us like when you add something to the movie, it's like it's a part of the lore, and it's gonna be we're gonna get deep with it. We're gonna have some mystery with it. You're not gonna show you everything, but you didn't show us enough, I feel like. I think as
Hmm.
we both agree, you didn't show us enough of the cult. You did show us a lot, but not enough to where there's this mystery or like something that really sets them apart.
And I also think that this is your big bad of the movie.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be the a connection. We have to
Mhm.
have a connection to them. We have to know why they're doing what they're doing and what's going on as the villains of this movie. Like if you think of all the other villains of the early movies, we get so much of their story. Like we
Yeah.
know why they're doing. Even the first one, like the Russian crime family. You know,
Mhm.
we see them at the chop shop and understand. Okay, he owns like the car, this chop shop in the area, and they can run drugs through here. They have the red circle where they can do this. Like they have, we understand kind of what they do. The cult just, I have no idea. She's
Yeah.
fighting. She could have been fighting like just unnamed assassins, and would have been the same thing.
No, 100%. That's it's it's so true. Um, with as far as like the fighting scene, because we've briefly talked about all the fighting. I mean, that's obviously like the money draw of these movies, the crazy action sets. Like I have a lot of notes and a lot of opinions on some of the fights. I don't know if you wanted to specifically bring up any
Well,
one that jumped out to you first,
I guess the first one that jump. I mean, the first one was the
like the opening
club.
fight. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
in the
Oh, I
club.
thought you meant like the opening, as in like the Eve's
Oh, the
dad
first
fight,
one.
which was a
That
pretty
was
good
good
fight. Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a really good one. And I wasn't expecting to jump straight into action
yeah. No,
because I
same.
mean, we talked about in the last episode how we wait a long time before we see any action in the
Yeah,
first movie. So I wasn't expecting to get right into action. It was a cool fight. He was throwing like red smoke bombs. I don't know
yeah,
why that's the weapon of choice that you have in your
yeah,
house. I mean, I get he wasn't ready, but like
yeah,
why do you even have anyways, it made it look cool.
yeah. No, it did.
Um but then for that whole scene, I really noticed. I was like, this kid looks just like Ana de
I
Armas.
was thinking the exact same thing. I
Perfect
was almost thinking
casting
like, is this
visually.
kind of is this like a deep, not a deep fake, like a de aging thing? Like, did they de
Yeah.
age her face to make her like younger and put it on a kid, or is this kid really look like she related to her? I should have
I
looked that
looked
up, to be
just like
honest.
her.
Looks so much like her. It was weird.
I Ava Joyce McCarthy. Oh
Oh,
no,
you found her
sorry. That's
name?
the no, that's the girl. That's the girl that they're chasing. That the guy's daughter that
Okay,
he's
yeah, yeah.
protecting. That's that girl.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I can't find young Eve.
Oh, Young
I'm looking
Eve.
for
It's
young Eve.
Victoria
Darmus.
Comte.
Oh, it's not
Yeah,
Darmus.
yeah, I
Okay.
know, right? No, no, it's not. But yeah, no, she looks so much like her. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
that was
that's
crazy.
crazy casting. I don't know if it just worked out that way or they were just constantly just looking. They're like, we got to find someone because they literally look like they're related. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's perfect.
They're probably like,
But
stop casting. We
yeah,
found her. I don't even care if this
we're
kid
good.
can act.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, especially with like kids, because like you kind of have lower expectations with kids anyway. You give
yeah.
them some grace if they're not great actors, so you almost just prioritize. Does this look like Ana de Armas? Then we're good.
Exactly. And usually in movies, they don't even care.
Yeah,
Like, when you really think about it, for the most part, it's like it's just a blonde. Like if there was like a blonde kid and to like, let's just get another blonde kid, whatever. It doesn't have to look
throw a
like
wig
them.
on them. Who cares?
Exactly. Whatever. Dye his hair. But this actually looked like her to the point where I was thinking, I was like, is this some kind of like CGI thing? Like it was weird. It was
Yeah,
weird. But yeah, no, I didn't even write that down, but I was thinking it. I was like, she looks exactly like her.
yeah, that was really good. Did you like that first fight though?
I did like it. I think it was in what's it called? It was more hand to hand combat. Like there wasn't
Yeah.
that much like shooting and stuff like that. And I think it was purposeful too, because like maybe he just didn't want any gun firings like to hit his daughter or something. You know what I mean? He's like, my daughter's here, like the bullets flying around, maybe something's gonna hit her. So like like they were trying to shoot at him, but he wasn't doing much shooting. And I think
Hmm.
that maybe that was on purpose of him just trying to protect her.
I do think that the introduction to the cult was good, and like in this scene where the guy comes in, right? He gives him one bullet, and he's like, "You can either kill me
Yeah.
or you can kill yourself. That was pretty badass. Like
That
that was
surprised
pretty
me
like,
too.
damn.
I thought he was just gonna shoot
Yeah.
himself. I thought that was gonna be the origin. She's like, "Oh damn, she had to watch her dad do that, make the decision." Because I
Right.
was like, that's what a dad would do." But I was like,
Hmm.
"All right," but then he didn't do it, and I was like, "Okay, that's kind of messed up. You better hope your daughter doesn't die from this." Obviously, we know she wasn't,
Exactly.
but but no, that
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting way to introduce them too, like that
Because that
that ultimatum.
Yeah, and that was like, okay, so this guy's like ruthless. So like that
Mhm.
got me hyped. I was like, okay, these are the big bads. This is the revenge spree that we're gonna be going on. And these guys, that's a great way to introduce. I want to know more
Yeah.
about them. And then I think they dropped the ball from there.
Yeah, that's fair. But you were making a point about the ice, like the ice club fight.
Mm.
What were you gonna say about that? You said that was the one that
Um,
stood out to you?
well, I
Or
think
you had
it
a
was
point
just
about it, I mean?
I mean, it was just that the action was like this is our first time really seeing Ana de Armas in action.
Yeah.
And this is what I was going into the movie. This was the number one thing that I was like looking for. I was like, how is she
Yeah.
gonna do? I was really interested. And she was great in like the dress moving
Oh, yeah.
around. Like it just with John Wick, he's always fighting in suits, right? So
Yeah.
she's fighting in a dress and heels, scrapping these dudes. I was like, this is so John Wick in a club with the music blaring. This is awesome.
Yeah, this was the introduction to let us see. I was like, because we saw her obviously doing like training, like at like back, like just like doing the jujitsu and stuff like that, and practicing her ballet. But this is the first time we got to see. I'm like, what's this fighting style going to be like? And like we talked about earlier, how like I'm glad how they kind of went with like a realistic approach where it's like, but I was gonna say she'll have like the struggle in the sense of like was she her being having a smaller frame and stuff like that. But I'm making it seem like John Wick also didn't get his ass kicked. He got his ass kicked too and took damage and stuff like that. So they stuck with that theme of like this isn't like a superhero that doesn't get messed up. She, if anything, probably has ends up leaving most fights with less damage than Wick though.
Yeah, I
She's
think
not like
so.
crawling away from fights. John sometimes
Yeah.
literally like limping away and like he's a mess. She gets like she has
Yeah.
cuts and stuff like that, but nothing that like to limit her range, her movement for the most
Yeah,
part.
the most damage that she got was like in that restaurant fight. She gets stabbed.
Oh
She
yeah,
pulls
yeah.
out the knife and then throws it at the
Oh
person's
my
face.
gosh,
That was
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely insane.
But other than that, you're right. Like John, we see him freaking jumping out of windows,
Oh
falling
yeah,
downstairs, like a whole yeah, he gets messed up. She
yeah.
was never that bad.
No, she's never that bad. The whole there's the hotel fight too, and I gotta shut that fight out. Mostly just because my boy Daryl was in there. Shout out Daryl
I
from The
was as
Walking
soon as I
Dead.
saw, I was like, yeah, I knew
I got
Dion's
hyped.
all in on
They
this
always
Daryl
do
guy.
this though. They always have like these little like 2 was Common, 3 was Halle Berry, 4 was who was 4? Oh, it was Skarsgård. I mean, I guess that's not like I think you kind of knew he was gonna be in there. And like all the
Yeah.
other ones weren't. I think you knew they were gonna be in there, but it's like getting like just that big actor who we know from other things to enter this
Hmm.
world. And but my only thing was like I feel like Daryl wasn't in this enough. I got hyped when they showed him
Yeah.
in there. The hotel was the majority of his
That was
parts in the
everything.
movie.
What
Yeah.
else did he do?
Yeah, that's
He
we
he
saw him at the
he
end.
yeah, we see him. Yeah, he
Yeah.
holds his daughter's hand and it's a happy ending. But like, yeah, we see him. He gets to fight a little bit in the hotel. That was cool. He gets to take a couple dudes out, wraps the
Yeah.
guy in the plastic and
Oh,
shoots him with a
yeah.
shotgun. That was
And
nasty.
that was it looked cool too because then you see the blood splat and then it's just like
Inside the
inside
thing.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
that
a
was
cool
dope.
little visual.
But you're right. After that, he gets knocked out and then he's just gone from the rest of the movie.
And you know what it is too? Like I saw him saying that like he got a call saying that like, oh, there's an opportunity we want you to be in the John Wick movie, but he was shooting like a TV show. And so I think that's why he maybe wasn't in it as much as he could have been because he still needed to be because he was telling them he's like, guys, like it's John Wick. Like I'm gonna be in this movie. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut some time. So like I think it was like I only have like some little amount of time to be in there. So like that's why maybe he's been in it for so little. But
I
bro,
feel
stop
like
shooting The Walking Dead, man. Because I know the show. He didn't say the show, but I know it's the spin because there's a spin-off of Walking Dead that he's in. It's
okay,
called freaking
okay.
Daryl Dixon. Bro, this show is taking up 15 years of your life, man. Do other things. Go be in John Wick more, man. God damn,
Yeah.
man. You're a badass. You've been a
That's
badass
your
for the last 15 years.
that's your advice to Norman Reedus is
Yes, it
the
is,
actor's
man.
name, but
Because like you're the biggest badass of The Walking Dead. Like Rick's obviously that guy because he was the main character, but you are the people that people love. It's you, Glenn, and then I'm going into a tangent now for The
yeah, that's
Walking Dead
okay.
fans. But
Yeah.
Daryl was my duty. I used to have a Daryl shirt.
I
when
remember
I was
that.
yeah, man.
Yeah. If Daryl
So I was
dies, we
hyped.
riot, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I actually
Yeah.
forgot what it would have said on it, but that now
I
you
don't know
said
why
that's
I
exact.
remember it.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
wore it
why.
a lot.
Okay,
I
well there
wore
you
it a
go. That's
lot,
why.
but nah, man,
I
that
mean,
was
in this movie he could have like, cuz think about it, that's his daughter, right?
yeah.
And he's trying to protect her from this cult. Him and Eve both get knocked out outside,
Mhm.
and they take his daughter. So when Eve wakes up, she goes, and I guess she's not trying to save his daughter. She's
Yeah.
more just trying to get revenge, but ends up saving. But like, that's his daughter, and you're just like, he just at the end of the movie, he's in like a hospital bed. But so you were just chilling in the hospital while your daughter was kidnapped,
Yeah. That's
and
what
you're a
I'm
part of
saying
this
too. That's
world.
why it
Like,
was
go get
weird.
her.
That's what I'm saying. It was a weird like thing to have him in the movie and be like that. Cause I'm like, nah, this dude fits perfectly in the world because not only we've seen him in doing other things, but like he's known as being a badass. So it just makes
Mhm.
it already works in the sense of seeing him in this world. It's not like we're seeing this isn't Joaquin Phoenix. There's a Joaquin Phoenix mention of the take a shot.
Another award, another
Yeah,
Joaquin
another
Phoenix award.
yeah. Like if Joaquin Phoenix was in here being a badass, then I could be a little bit like, okay, I guess I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But it's Daryl. Like this guy should be able to jump out of the hospital bed, have the like I don't know, have his blood still attached to the things, and still be shooting. I'll accept it. You know what they should have had? They should have had him with a crossbow. That was his weapon in The Walking Dead. That would have been like a
That'd
little
be a
nod
little
to the
more on the
fans.
nose. That'd be a little too
Yeah,
much,
I don't
maybe.
care. It's an action movie. I don't give a damn. It's not a
Fair,
drama, man.
fair.
Just do that, man. But no, that was a good sequence. I like the sequence, especially because the splat you talked about. There's the Frank's shop. That was a pretty good sequence too.
That
The
was
freaking
awesome.
bro, the grenades,
Was sick.
absolutely insane, bro. Bro, she put the grenade in the dude's mouth. I'm like, it seems like such overkill.
And then they close the door, hides behind the door, it blows up, and then she
Oh
opens
my
the door.
god.
Now there's a hole in the wall, so she could go through to
Yeah.
the other side. That was awesome. That scene was actually great, and that like the grenade in the mouth was the biggest, most memorable one to me. But let's not forget, there's one where she like put a grenade in the dude's mouth, grabbed his tie, jumped over the
Yeah.
table, pulled his head down, and as he hit the table, his head exploded. I was like, "Oh my god, yo, that fight was
To me,
crazy."
that was the most memorable one for me.
Oh,
That
okay, okay,
until like I saw the grenade in the mouth and I was like, okay, that's the craziest kill. And the next one, like immediately on impact, just bang, and you see
yeah,
guts going flying. I'm like, oh my god, she's a badass, man.
yeah,
It
that
was
was
that
crazy.
moment when I was like completely because there was part of me that was still a little bit like, I was like, do I like this fighting style? Like, I don't know. But then in that Frank Shop fight, I was like, oh my god, she's a monster. And then she
Yep.
gets worse as the movie goes on. Like I
Yeah.
mentioned the skates and stuff like that. I'm like, she's evil. Like I don't know if like even when she was going back to the ice fight, when she was stabbing the dude with the hammer, I'm like, I don't know why. For some reason, John
Mm.
feels a little more like I'm just gonna take you out. She's like hurting these people. There's more.
Well,
I feel like there's more rage.
even you're right. I think you're probably right. There's one even in the training sequence when they're using simulated bullets, right? So it's the darts
Yeah,
that I guess make you feel the pain of a bullet. There's one where she like walks a dude down and like pop 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 pop. She puts like 8 into his chest. I'm
yeah,
like, he's
yeah.
done. Like you could stop. like she's nasty with it. But you're
Yeah,
right.
she
That
took that
in the
stuff. Yeah, she took it to heart.
and the
Oh,
Frank
go
shop,
yeah,
like think about it started again with like that flip. Like we weren't expecting this fight. I was like, okay,
yeah,
she's getting suited up, she's getting armored up. This is gonna be, just a regular scene. And then the door blows off. I was like, oh snap,
yeah,
this is a fight right now.
yeah. No,
This is so opposite of every other movie. Every action movie, you have them getting equipped with all their guns and everything,
yeah.
looking everything over, reloading and blah blah blah. And then they go into a fight. We're just jumping right into it. I was not ready for that. Then she pulls up, grabs all the grenades, has these nasty kills. That was a sick scene.
Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot about another nasty kill. Back to the hotel when Daryl set up a freaking saw trap for when the dude kicks the door open and immediately gets popped
Mm.
in the face.
Yeah, that
That
was
literally
cool.
is a trap in Saw. That's why I'm saying it's like a Saw trap because I was like, oh my god. I'm like, what was that? A shotgun? The dude went flying back. I thought it was just a handgun.
Yeah, I know. Hey man, it's a hand cannon is what it is.
Oh my goodness, man. That
And
was
then when
insane.
they get punished for fighting in the Continental because
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, no, I never killed anyone. She was beating that girl's face with a remote, changing the channels. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh yeah. I
this is
forgot.
another way they're just leaning into the humor. I love that they're doing this. It's
Yeah, I
great.
know. No, it is great.
And then they just line them up. She's like, no, I didn't kill anybody. And the hotel manager just believes her,
Yeah, I know.
wets up the two people on either side of her, and she's just like, she's right. She never killed anyone. We can not confirm this, but I believe her.
I
Sure.
mean, the only thing I was assuming is cameras, but like you can't have cameras in someone's bedroom, so like there's no way they actually could confirm it, I guess. But he just believed it, and she's like, "Yeah, I think you need to leave." She's like, "Yep, I'm gonna believe."
Yeah, yeah. She's the main
But
character of the movie, guys. She's right. She didn't kill anyone.
yeah, exactly. Like, I think she knows John Wick, so we're just gonna leave her alone.
Yeah,
Something tells me
exactly.
she knows John Wick, so we're just gonna let her go.
And he doesn't give a fuck about the Continental
No, he
rules.
doesn't, man. He really doesn't. Even to go past like, because now I'm jumping. We're just jumping into all the fight scenes that we thought were
hmm
awesome. Like the after Frank gives her the information and she goes over to the restaurant in
Yep.
Hallstatt, I think it was,
hmm
and that in that fight she gets even nastier too. Like there's a lot that goes on in that fight, but she dug her finger in that dude's eyes. I like the setup of that fight too. I don't know about you, how like the dude like walks in all casually, like he looks like he's trying to get a cup of coffee or whatever, and then just starts firing and they just get into it.
Yeah. No words. They just like,
Nah,
it's funny because that's kind of a flip on what we talked about in the last episode, like the anime kind of feel that they go with John Wick, where it's
yeah,
like we have the build up to the fights.
yeah,
This was totally the opposite. In this one, you're right. The guy walks in. I guess there's a little bit of build up. Like he pulls up in the black SUV. We're like, okay, this guy's here to kill
yeah.
Eve, and she knows that.
Mm.
But you're right. They don't talk. He doesn't like sit down and order a coffee or anything. He just pulls out his gun and they just start scrapping right
Yeah.
away. And in Frank's shop again, there's no lead up to it. We're just like it's a surprise. Like here we go, let's fight. So like it's kind of a flip on what they did on not the whole rest of the franchise, but like in general, the kind of vibe that they went with for the other movies, they didn't do
No,
in
that's
this one.
true. I think there were specific points because after our whole like anime conversation, I was in this like looking for other anime moments. I feel like the anime aspect is like we were building to the consulars. That was the name, right? Like the big bad
The
of the cult. What was his name again?
Chancellor, I think,
The
is the
Chancellor. Yeah,
Chancellor.
we were building to that. That was in the sense of like you're slowly making your way up. And
hmm
she did the phone call thing of John Wick. She's like, "This ends when you die." Click, like that classic.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's an
They're not
anime
here.
thing.
They're not here to fish.
They're
Click.
not here to fish.
But and then another thing, what was another part that was anime? The sister dying in a burning building. That's very anime.
Mm.
Very, that feels like very anime. It's like, oh, like the it was actually my sister. And then the minute you find your sister, she immediately dies in a burning fire. It's just like okay, like just having that. And then the Kai blast fight. The fire versus the water
Oh,
was
yeah, that's
very
very
much
anime.
a Kai blast fight. As soon as I
That's
saw that, I'm like, okay, someone watched Dragon Ball Z.
you're totally right. That's such a good point because like, why is he still shooting the flamethrower? Like,
Exactly.
and
There
he's
is no.
walking closer. I'm like, why are you getting close? That doesn't change anything. Like, this
Yeah.
is. But at the same time, a flamethrower is like, I mean, these are different flamethrowers. It's not like the pilot light and then it shoots gasoline. It's
Yeah.
not like it's some kind of augmented,
Yeah.
fictional flamethrower. So I don't know
Mm.
exactly how it works, but like if it was a gasoline one, I don't even think water would stop that. I'm pretty sure like wouldn't it just go right through it?
Yeah, I don't know. That is a good point.
I don't know.
That is a good point. But yeah, I think that's all I got for like anime moments. But she got
Yeah.
like as like the movie started wrapping up, I was writing down. I was like, she got a lot of work with just like all these different things. We talked about like the ice fight, the hotel. We talked about the fame throwers at the restaurant, and then she had her own like little Kill Bill moment when she took out the sword and then just
Mm,
started going in. Like
yeah.
I thought that was pretty dope too, and that was it within the fire in scene.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And 100%. She got a lot. You're right. A lot of action to do in a short movie too. It's less than an hour and a half. It's like 129, I think.
Yeah, something.
Uh,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think it's 129. Short movie and yeah, almost all action. She got a lot of fighting to do. I mean, this is what we
Insane.
expected going into the movie,
Yeah.
but like that restaurant fight was great.
Mm.
The shop was great. Like honestly, all the action was really really good. And again, I was coming into this like with high expectations for action because this is a John Wick movie.
Yeah. No,
So I
100%.
had high expectations and they cleared him. So
No, I think 100% delivered on
credit to the
the
movie
action
there.
wise.
Yeah.
I think we're similar on like the story beats and maybe like the lore beats where we're like maybe this could have been different. You could have done like gone a different route in being like maybe like less predictable. So I agree with that. But like I feel
Hmm.
like as just like the straight up action that they delivered, I feel like they did not disappoint at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Because I mean, and then you recently did like you kind of did like a marathon almost. You watched all the John Wicks, so
Yeah.
they're more even more so fresh in your mind. I haven't seen the other ones in a bit, but I'm sure as you're saying you feel like it delivered. So like
100%. Yeah, yeah. I watched 3 and 4 this week leading up to it. I
okay,
had seen 1 and 2, but yeah, 100% delivered on the action. And maybe the runtime is why like we didn't get as much
mm,
about the cult or as much about, a little added piece to Ruscaroma or something like just because like but then give me a little more. Like have it
yeah, no, that's true.
40 an hour 45 and give me a little bit more about the cult and like you said you could add a little touch to the Ruscaroma. And I mean they added the test, but other than that like we could have got more. I think we could have got more.
No, that's fair. They're actually I actually had another point to that I almost forgot to mention that I thought was really cool. 2 points. The again, this movie a lot of surprise action scenes. Like we said,
Yeah,
they don't build us into it. When they did the 2 months later thing, that was kind of like a badass thing. They did the 2 months later, and then now she's like fully formed, and we just see her walking out of that club, and like everyone's just dead
just
in the
pulling knives out of
bathroom.
guys.
Yeah, just pulling knives out of everybody constantly, and we just think she's done. And then even when she gets in her car, and it's like there's a dude on the front of it that she just hit. Like that was the beginning of her night, which I thought that was kind of cool. Like she just went on a rampage, and you can just imagine how it was.
Yeah.
That's her impossible task, like John Wick did or whatever it is. But when she was driving away and then gets hit by the car, I did not expect
Mm.
that. And then she's sitting outside the car, like shooting it
Sliding as
as
it,
yeah. I thought
yeah.
that was sick. I didn't see that coming.
You're right. That was sick. And like to me, a big thing, a part of that too, is like this is obviously after she went through an insane fight.
Yeah,
Like she just killed all these dudes in the club. She ran a dude over, pushed him into the wall, took the picture of the guy. This was obviously some kind of hit, I guess.
yeah,
But there was obviously this crazy fight. You're probably a little broken down, a little tired, all this stuff. And then you're not expecting her. She's driving off, and then boom, gets hit by the car like a surprise. You're right. Like just totally different from the buildup that we got in the other movies. But it totally worked. She's sliding. Yeah, it was sick. And then she
it
fights
was
this
so
guy,
sick.
sees the mark on his hand, cuts his hand off so she could bring it with her. And the lady's like, "Hey, your bag's leaking."
Oh,
I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, she has his hand?
yeah.
Damn."
Yeah, she's definitely got more rage than John Wick. Like as I'm realizing, like as we've talked about all the fighting scenes and the way she was fighting people, I'm like, it definitely feels like John definitely had rage, especially in the first movie. But like, I don't
Yeah,
know, right here,
I think I think
yeah,
John, he has the rage as well. I just think he has a different approach
yeah,
because before he had all the rage, he was a trained assassin, right? So
yeah,
he came at it very tactfully.
yeah,
I'm coming at it with a exact approach and a very
mhm,
specific approach to killing. And then he gets rage, right? When
yeah,
his wife gets killed, dog, blah, blah, blah. But this one, she gets the rage as a kid. She sees
yeah,
her dad die, and then she gets trained. So like the rage is kind of the 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 deeper part
mhm,
almost. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that was the foundation of her is the rage, whereas the foundation of John was the training.
yeah. It's a good
So I
point.
think he still has that rage. He just kind of it's more the fighting style. She has the rage fighting style because she learned after she was already on this wanted to be, has that
Yeah,
rage inside of her.
no, it's a good point. And I wonder if like if they end up green lighting a sequel, I wonder if like we're gonna see a shift. Where's she gonna be more calm? Because like the reason for her rage, like I feel like she reached it. She killed the
Mhm.
guy that she wanted to kill, and now she's I don't know if she's content because now she's got people coming after her, but maybe content in that aspect. Like there's nothing else for her, but like she's still a trained assassin. But I just wonder if the style is gonna change or if she's still just gonna tap into that range and still kind of because sometimes she's just like screaming, like she's just like "Arr!" Like just like yelling at someone as she's stabbing them, and I'm like, this is not the guy that killed your dad, but go off, I guess.
No, but he's in the way of
Yeah,
me
he's in the
getting to
way.
that guy. Yeah. And I mean, the it's funny. Like I like that they had that moment of her like coming out, pulling knives out of people. Like the
Yeah.
pulls the guy's stuck in the elevator, so he's got to like move
Oh
the
yeah.
body. And, like there is a little bit of like the humor to it, and it's almost like the you don't show us it because we can build it up in our mind of how crazy that fight was. But at the same time, this is after the club scene,
Mhm.
and I talked about how like I feel like they just kind of threw that in there because like okay, we need an action scene. Like
Yeah.
let's just show her first job. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what the job is.
Yeah, no,
Which
it's true.
this could have been. You could have scrapped that and shown this fight.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
That is
like
a good
have her
point.
like okay,
And with the
this is a
reasoning that she did it or whatever.
yeah. Like I mean, even if it's just for money, because she takes a picture of the guy and then sends, and then we see that the e-transfer hits or whatever, right? So she gets paid for the job. So even if it was just
Yeah.
like, okay, you got to kill this guy, this is why there's a hit out on him. We get a crazy fight, and then it ends with she gets hit by the car, and then she's fighting a dude and notices the X on his hand. And then so like that fight is
Yeah.
actually advancing the story. Like the fight in the club does not advance the story.
Yeah, no, it's good. That's a very good point. Yeah, you literally could scrap that fight. I think it just became like an aesthetic thing of just like it's cool seeing like the I guess the ice, them fighting on ice. This one with the because I don't think we got that in the John Wick series of like having it's more fresh in
Ice.
your mind. Did he ever fight on ice?
Not that I no, I don't think so.
So I
But
guess
you could
they
still
wanted
do that in
no,
that
they
fight.
still
Like
no,
just
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
do it in the ice club.
100%. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I'm just trying to now I'm just trying to backtrack. I'm like, was there ever an ice fight? Because
I don't think
yeah, I
so.
don't know if there was, but yeah, no, yeah, you're 100% right on that. I agree. I think they definitely could have scrapped that.
Yeah, just work them into the same fight. It's two fights when it could have just been one, story wise.
Yeah, no, 100%. Did you have any other points? I'm kind of done. I got one more point, but I want to see if
What
you
I
have
got through
anything
my
else you want to.
points. I have a couple of facts, but do
Okay,
you want
I
to get
got
to
one
that
more
first? What do you
point.
think?
Then I got one more
Okay,
point
good.
before you can get to your facts. Then it was just I almost forgot to say it. It was just again during like the whole like flamethrower sequence. It was just like a little cool thing I thought they added when the dude's foot was on fire and then suddenly he started fighting her with like the flaming foot. I'm like, that's so like
Yeah,
it's like Street Fighter. It's fucking like Ken, like from Street Fighter when he's just got
yeah,
like a doing like a Hadouken like flaming foot. I was like, this is just like someone just having fun. They're like, what
100%.
aspect of a video game or whatever can we throw in here? And like someone was just having fun. I appreciate it because like I
Yeah,
just thought it looked cool.
again, very
Very
anime.
anime. Yeah.
But like practically, that does nothing. Like if I'm fighting a guy and his foot's on fire,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
better for me. Like the kick is not like it's not.
No,
He's not
exactly. It just
holding
looks
it on my leg and it's
yeah,
burning me, but
exactly.
it
It's
looks
just
fucking cool.
visually, yeah, it just
Yeah,
visually looks cool, and I just want to shout it out because I thought I when I saw it, I was like, all right, that's cool.
yeah.
Like, yeah, fight wise, I don't know if what's it actually doing for like your advantages in this fight. Probably nothing.
No,
You're probably at a
exactly.
disadvantage, like you're saying, but it just looked really cool. So I wanted to
Yeah,
shout it out.
100%. Yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah,
mentioned it. Um, so I read that so they acquired Shay Hatton, who was the writer,
yeah,
his script for so he wrote an action movie called Ballerina that
hmm
was he wrote it separate from the John Wick franchise.
yeah,
So he originally wrote it. It was inspired by John Wick 2. I
hmm
guess when he saw the Ruscaroma and like the
yeah,
ballerinas, and then so that's kind of what it inspired it. So then once they acquired the script, they then wrote in the concepts for Ballerina into John Wick
mm,
3 when he goes to the Ruscaroma, and then we see the the ballet dancer on stage, which is we now know is Eve,
yeah,
right? When she was spins and again, again,
yeah.
again. So like they wrote that in knowing that this movie was going to come
Ah,
afterwards.
okay, that's
That's kind of
sick.
cool.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
actually like there was a movie that came out last year called Ballerina with on Netflix, and I was confused. I was like, "There's gonna be two ballerina movies that are coming out." Like, it seems like is someone are they jumping ahead of them to beat them to the thing? It was different
Mm.
though, and I thought you were gonna say like if that guy was like your fact was gonna be like that guy was like trying to write it, and then they were taking too long. He's like, I'm gonna do my own ballerina thing, and I was like, oh snap, is that gonna
Mm.
mess the rollout for this movie? But not the case. I thought
Not
that's
the
where you were
case.
going. Not the
No,
case.
I just found it interesting that they got it before,
Mm,
and then they knew they were going to do it, so they like planted the nugget in
yeah.
3 and they planted the seed for it. That was kind of cool.
Mm,
And actually, because they acquired it before, and like I said, he wrote it separate from the franchise. So they obviously had to like tweak the script to
yeah.
like fit the world that we're in.
Mhm.
So originally the script had apparently a nude fight scene.
Oh,
Eve was
really?
like in a shower getting attacked. So there was going to be a nude fight scene. It was going to be a little more humorous, even though this one had the humor that we talked about.
Yeah.
But it would be like more self aware, almost kind of like a Zombieland type of thing. It would have an on screen body count after
Oh,
every action
really?
scene. Like it would say how many people that she killed and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. I'm trying to imagine what it would be because like although even though it'd be like a nude fighting scene, they definitely wouldn't show anything. So it'd be imagine it'd be a lot of backs and butts or whatever it is because then
Yeah, I
otherwise you got
guess.
to pull up the rating of the movie and they don't want to do that. So I'm just imagining
Well, is this
how
movie
goofy
not rated R? It's got to be.
is it?
Dude,
That's a
they're
good
blowing up
question.
heads and
Yeah, that's
shooting. There's got to be. Are you
what
kidding
is
me?
it? 14A.
All the John Wicks. What?
14A.
What? No way.
Was four was John was part 4 rated R?
I thought they all were.
14A. I think it depends where you live. In Canada, our
Maybe.
rules are different, I guess.
Dude, this is just straight up
No, it's
murder
wild.
movies.
Yeah, I
How
know
are
it's pretty
how
wild.
are these
That is a
not
good
rated
point.
R?
I'm seeing 14A. It is pretty wild. But then, like, what's the difference between this and Deadpool? I guess the language. There's no f
Yeah.
bombs, no swearing in this. I think that. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no.
that's way better than seeing
I don't.
people
I don't
get
know.
blown up with the
I don't.
grenades in their mouth. You're right, but we're not swearing, so
Yeah,
you're
I
good.
guess I don't know. Actually, I don't know what makes the difference. To be honest, I guess we got to look at the rules again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because sometimes I feel like it is the blood, but there's a lot of blood in this. I don't
Tons
know.
of it.
I don't
Like
know.
we said, she blew up a dude's head in the freaking basement of that gun shop. How's that 14A? That's
I don't
crazy.
know, man. Rules have changed.
I guess so. It's time for the filmies.
It's time for the filmies.
Let's do it. All right, everybody, welcome to the Filmies. This is what Dion talked about at the start of the show, our award show. We got 6 awards that we give out to the movie that we're talking about. Our first one is the fit check. Best or worst fit of the movie. Who gets your fit check?
So my fit check went to Eve, and I
Mhm.
gave it to her Ice Club fit that we said that probably didn't need to be in there, but if it wasn't in there, I wouldn't have had my fit check. So it's her. It's just I think it's just the aura of her when she was coming into the into the club too. Like she's rocking the fur coat, she got the sequins dress and everything. She looked like a female pimp, man. I was like, part of me was thinking, I'm like, this is not conspicuous. Like you're not blending in here. Like I feel like you're kind of supposed to be blending in here in this situation, and then when you need to jump in, you're jumping in. But I feel like friggin' Ana de Armas walks into a club looking like that. Everyone like it's not like you're drawing so much attention to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it gets my fit check because it's a fresh fit. It's mostly the fur coat that's doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But
The fur coat is crazy. I mean, when she takes it off and she starts fighting and she's just in the dress, like it's so sparkly.
Yeah.
And with the lights of the club, like it's just shining as
Mm.
she's moving, fighting.
yeah,
It looks super dope. But you're right. When she's walking in, even her hair, I liked her hair. Like it was kind of like
that's true.
two I don't know what the bangs maybe that were kind of like toward the back, but the rest of it was down. Like I don't know, the hair looked cool.
I mean,
it's
this
on-
we don't know.
it's
We're not.
Ana de
This isn't a
Armas.
hairstyle podcast, so we don't know. We don't know. We're just. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it was called. But
I don't know
the
what it's
hair
called
looked
either.
good.
But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, if you just Google,
The picture.
her walking in was in the trailer. So if
Yeah.
you just Google like
Yeah, no, I have the
ballerina
pic-
club
yeah.
fit, you'll see it, and
Exactly. You'll know
it's a
exactly
great
what you're talking
fit.
about. Yeah, it's dope.
and it's also my.
Yeah.
That's also my
Certified.
fit check. That is a certified fit check because holy shit, that fur coat is in.
Yeah,
That fur
it's
coat
so
was
dope.
so sick. It was
It's
so sick, and
so
she's
dope.
walking in. Just the close up of her face as she's
Yeah.
walking in. She's looking tough and confident.
So
This is her
tough.
first job, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's our first job. Like, you think you'd come in just like, let me just like, let me wear a black jacket, whatever. But she's like, nah, I'm gonna come in flexing on everybody.
I'm gonna come in swagged out. I mean, it's Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, are you not supposed to be blending in?
I mean,
But-
you have Ana. Like, what is she gonna do? Even if she is just wearing a black suit, she's still Ana de Armas.
I know, but but it's also a sequence dress where like it's like the lights are bouncing off you and everything. I get it.
Yeah.
It looks dope for the fight too, like you mentioned too. Like, and I didn't even really think about that. It's definitely a purposeful thing. They were thinking like because this movie's all about like the lights. I talked about in the first one. Like they like the practical lighting and having like these cool lights in the backgrounds and everything. and having a sparkly dress just fits perfectly with that aesthetic that they go for in these movies. That
Yeah.
I mentioned the neon club thing in the first movie. I'm like, that's, and you saw it so many times as you watched all the movies. There's always like a club scene. There needs to be a club fighting scene, and that's why they threw this in here, Scott. They didn't give a
Yeah.
damn about the mission. They're like, how the hell do we squeeze in a club scene?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can have the
Yeah,
mission
I
and
know.
have it at the club.
I know.
Like, have it at this. You can have she can wear the dress. You could be in this ice club. Like, cause it looked cool. Everything
Yeah.
was great. Like, do the
It's
same
just the
thing.
reasonings. Yeah.
Just have that be the fight that she then comes from
I'm
when
with
she
you.
leaves the club, gets hit by the car, and then
I'm with you.
just would have been a little
100%.
more cohesive, a
I'm
little more
100%
tight.
with you. I get you.
That would also give you more time for exposition on the
Yeah,
cult. You know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying?
You're right. I'm with you.
All right, next up we got our sixth man, our Peyton Pritchard Award.
Mm.
So this is someone with a smaller role on the movie that did the most with that small opportunity. Who did the most with their smallest opportunity? Who's your sixth man?
I gave it to Frank from the gun store, and I think it
Nice.
was like at first I was like, okay, it's just like a generic dude, but we mentioned it too. We just like the stupid shit of him saying like, "Can I be Frank?" It's stupid, but I laughed when he
Zoom in
said
on
it.
the
Yeah, when
name
they
tag.
zoomed in, yeah, because at first I was like, okay, he just said he's gonna be Frank. Then they zoomed in. I chuckled. The dude behind me, I heard chuckle. I'm like, what are we laughing at? Why are we're 12 years old? Like, why are we laughing at this? But it got me. I don't know. It's like I heard penis and I'm giggling. That's how I felt the level of
Yeah.
laughing at that is. Where it's just like, all right, I laughed at it though, so whatever. And then I liked him like the little flip at the end too, where he's just like, he was like, oh, like to be frank with you, as you're saying, like I know those people, but I don't want to know more about them. Basically, like I'm not trying to be involved with them. But then at the end, when he looks at the dude, he just looks like son. Like I can't remember what he said. They swore or something, but he's just like, oh, these bastards or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, and then he pulls up the map. I'm like, oh, so you do know about them? All right, Frank.
Yeah.
There's, and now I want to know more about Frank. Let's get the Frank
True.
spinoff. John Wick, Frank.
What
Whatever.
I hope he comes. Maybe he comes back in the second one.
Yeah,
She got to get
that would be
guns
great.
and
That would be
I
great
hope
fan
so.
service. We want to see Frank come back. If we're gonna do it again, I almost
Yeah.
wonder, like, not to go into tangent here, but like it's still connected. I almost wonder if they do a John Wick Part 5, maybe what we do need to see is that now we have Eve and John Wick. Like it's John Wick's movie, and then Eve pops in, and then we see a Frank. Like that would be the ideal thing. Now
Mm,
it's like, okay, this isn't just some random person. We know Eve, and like we've got her background story, and now we're seeing with John Wick, and John Wick can actually do his thing. He's not doing a little side cameo thing, almost like a
yeah.
Marvel-esque team up movie. I guess
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
they're
mad at
almost
it.
like cameoing for each other in each other's
Yeah,
movies that to make it
exactly,
feel super connected. Yeah, that would be
exactly. I wouldn't
interesting.
be mad at it, but
And Frank comes in and he says,
exactly.
and they're like, "Well, what do you suggest I get for this type of operation?" Well, frankly,
Yeah, yeah.
stares into the camera like that. Every movie he gets like a Frank joke.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
I love that. Yeah, now it needs to happen, bro.
I mean,
I need to
like
find the
they're just leading
emails of
into
these guys.
these corny jokes, man. Just keep it going. Keep it going.
Gotta
It's
keep
great.
it going. But him just saying that, like, he's like, yeah, like, a lot of people go out there and not a lot of people will come back. Like, that's bad math. And I'm just it made
Mm.
me think of like freaking like man's not hot. When he said bad math, they talk about math like that. Quick
Yeah.
math, that's bad math. And I'm like, all right,
Quick mass.
shout out Frank.
They're dead. Yeah.
Yeah, Frank's my
That's a
Peyton Pritchard.
that's a good pick. I almost gave it to him. I
Mm.
really thought about it. He's the perfect six man. Like he
Yeah.
shows up, he's got his one scene. He's
Mm.
got a couple jokes. He lets them fly, gets her suited up. He starts shooting back in the fight a little bit.
Yeah.
Gets his hand popped, and then he just kind of like disappears
Yeah,
for the fight. I don't know
disappears.
where he went, but yeah, I didn't go that direction.
That's fair.
I went with Ian McShane, who plays
Okay.
Winston.
Mm.
So I kind of did the same thing that I did in the last Mission Impossible episode. This is kind of a legacy award.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like in this
Mhm.
movie, he gets to give her a little bit of information of how to find Daryl in
Yeah.
the hotel, but he doesn't get that much to do. But I just love him in these movies. Like
Yeah.
he's getting the six man for the John Wick
Yeah.
franchise. Like his character is so snooty and like
Yeah.
uppity,
Mm.
but also someone that you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
It's the perfect blend of like, yeah, this guy is so upper class and like uppity, but like he's also a good dude, and like he loves his boy Sharon, and he loves John Wick, and he's helping Eve out, and like Ian McShane's eyebrows are up for like the whole every single
Yeah,
scene
it's
of
so
this movie.
true.
He's just
Yeah, it's so
always
true.
making this face like, oh well, you know, you'll find him in the red circle, John. This is what separates us from the animals. And
No.
like just I don't know, he's just
He's great.
awesome.
No, he's
He's just
great.
awesome.
I'm not mad at that at all. Like, not mad at all for the like legacy thing. You could give him to that for whatever. You just give it to him straight up because he's such a great part of this franchise. And in this movie, he definitely was more of a six man because he wasn't really in it for that much. So
Mhm.
I 100% agree with that. That's a great six man.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up, we got our best quote. What was your favorite quote?
Uh, I'm leaning. I don't know for a reason. I'm leaning into the stupid humor because
It's
I
because it's
just
fantastic.
yeah, because it's fantastic. But mine goes to John Wick. It's just very dry ass humor when Eve when she meets him for the first time. She's like, "I'm trying to get out of here," and he just pauses for a second and he says in his dry tone, "The front door is unlocked."
Yeah.
I'm just like, thanks, John.
Dude, when he says that, and Keanu's delivery, like his character, like this character of John Wick, it almost feels like it hurts when he talks.
Yeah.
Like he's just like the way he delivers it. He's just like the front door
Yeah.
is open, and it's like he's moving his body. Like as he's talking, it's like just say the words, man. But like you're right, just like it's so perfect for John Wick. He would totally say that. It's great.
That description is hilarious too. It's like it hurts when he
Yeah.
speaks. That is the way he talks. The front door is unlocked.
Like
Yeah, it's
everything.
like every
You ready
word.
for this fight, John? Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, damn, man. Like, are you okay? Like, no matter what he say, like, I get it. Like, right after a fight, like, you just got shot a bunch of times, and maybe you got stabbed. Like, you're in pain, but like, he's not in pain in this
Yeah,
moment. He
I
should be totally
know.
fine. He's
But
just
I mean, it's
the
in
front
between.
door.
It's in between those movies, so maybe he probably did just come from a fight. To be honest,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
it's so true. I've never pieced it together like that. That like he's talking like that because he's in pain. I'm just like, oh, that's his cadence. But it makes sense if logically they said that. It's like, yeah, he talks like that because he's always got a bullet in him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, or whatever it is.
Maybe it is.
Oh my goodness,
Maybe
that's
that is the reason.
hilarious. But yeah, he gets my quote for the front door is unlocked because I don't know, that just took me out.
Yeah.
Dude
It's
behind me
perfect.
laughed for that too. Me and him laughing at Frank
You and
jokes
that
and
guy.
laughing.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
were.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, man.
The good quote. Good quote.
Thank
That's
you.
not mine. I gave it to Nogi,
Okay.
who's the trainer at the Rescaroma.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, she says this to Eve, and you actually mentioned it. She says, "You lose because you let him dictate the terms of the conflict. You want to win? Change the terms."
Yeah.
One, I was like, that's kind of tough. Just
Yeah.
the way it's written, that's kind of a
That is
bar.
tough.
That's pretty tough. And two, it got me hyped to see Eve like fight dirty.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, again, going into this, I was like, okay, how are they gonna do her fighting style? Like, how are they gonna make it work? Is it gonna look cool? And then she said that, I was like, okay, she's gonna get nasty and
Yeah.
do
She's gonna
some
kick some dudes in the
wild shit.
balls. And
She's
didn't
gonna be
take long.
yeah. Immediate went to
Immediately.
immediate went to a ball punch.
And then she
I mean,
kicked him
it's
in the
fair,
balls as she left. That wasn't
Yeah.
necessary. It's like,
It
yo, like
100%
we're all
wasn't.
training together here. The fight's done. You're still
It's like,
kicking
you're my
me.
sparring partner. I'm not trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Why do you got to do like what the hell? Like, I get it. You're out in the field. You're fighting to the death.
Yes.
Like, yeah, kicking people in the balls like that. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
But like in here, what the hell?
It was just the second one, which I was like,
Yeah.
you already beat me. Why are you kicking me in the balls again? What the hell, man?
And it's not like he was an ass. Like
That's
if
what
he
I'm
was
s-
being a dick to her,
that's
like,
what
yeah,
I'm-
you suck, or like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're never gonna beat me, blah blah blah. And then it'd be like,
Never
okay,
that.
yeah, you're getting your get back, like
Yeah.
kicking him in the balls. He was not doing that.
That's a
Piece
good
of
quote
shit.
though. I really liked her saying that too because when she said that, I was like, I was exact same way. I was like, ooh, we're about to see a different gear here. Like she's about to
Yep.
just a different whatever she's about to do differently, we're about to see it. And she
Mhm.
went for it, man. And it goes even further to when I was talking about in the rest when she dug her finger in that dude's eyes, man.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. We didn't even see her finger. I'm like, how deep did she get in this guy's socket, man? I'm like, that's another level of dirty. That's what I'm like. John never fought like
She was She was tickling his brain,
Oh
man. She
my
scraped off a couple
gosh.
memories off of that guy. I mean, he was dead, but like,
Yeah. Oh my
you know what I'm
goodness,
saying?
man. Yeah, no. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I almost gave my quote to what you said, like, careful, that's John fucking Wick.
Oh yeah, that's
He's
it.
only one man.
Yeah.
Just
Famous
because I was
final
like, this is
words.
incredible. Yeah.
That was a great. Yeah, that
That's
was great.
amazing. All right. Next up, we got our Ferris Bueller Award. So this is our lazy award. This is that someone did on screen or off screen that we noticed that we think was lazy. So who gets your Ferris Bueller Award?
I actually, I'm gonna mention it as my honorary mention. I
Mm.
almost gave it to Eve for a reverse Ferris of her cutting off the dude's hand and bringing it back instead of just taking a picture. I'm like, that you're doing too much. You could have just took a picture. Like, I don't know. You
That's
didn't
a
have to
great
bring
point.
this hand all the way back just to show her the scar on the wrist. You could have took a picture.
That's a good point.
That was
Yeah, that's a
that
great
was my
point.
honor. Then I actually found something that was actually a Ferris Bueller, which
Okay.
is I'm giving it to Shay Hatton, the writer, for
Mm.
naming the cult.
Mm. See,
Like,
another thing about this cult. They told us nothing about this cult, bro. What the hell? Not even a
yeah.
name?
They like I don't I wasn't sure about that because I was like, did I miss the name? Like, did they say it once? And Eve just kept calling it the cult because like she didn't know what the name was. So like I wasn't sure if
Mhm.
like they actually said what their name was like the one time, but then she kept calling it the cult. So in my head, I'm like, okay, it's the cult. But I'm like, is that really their name? I don't. You didn't hear otherwise, did you? That
Nope.
they actually
No,
had a
and
name
in research, everywhere that I read just
called them
refers
the
to it
cult.
as the cult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on. Well, that's very lazy. Like we can call them something.
Yeah, what are you
Some
gonna call him? I'm putting you on the spot now.
just
You
like
did
the
this.
just like
Yeah.
the William Dafoe
What are you gonna
thing.
call him?
I don't know, the Alliance or something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The outsiders. I don't
Okay.
know. They're not saying these are better, but it's just the
Better than
cult is
nothing.
just yeah. The
Yeah.
cult seems like nothing to be honest.
Well,
It
what was
seems like
the?
when you're writing the script and you're writing the rough draft, it's like okay, and then we're gonna have the cult, and then we're gonna and then someone just never named it anything. It's like oh, step we never
Yeah.
named the cult anything.
Yeah. So what are we gonna call it? Well, it's a cult.
Yeah,
So let's call it the cult.
yeah. It's,
Where?
I don't
Well, where
know.
was it again? Like, in what kind of mountains was it in?
Oh, it
Or
was in the but I don't know if that's where they always were though. Have they been there for 1,000 years? Hallstatt.
I think
They were in
so. Because
Hallstatt.
that's because the guy he was like in 200 years the chancellor has never left this building during a conflict or whatever. So
Mm.
called them the Hallstatt heroes, the Hallstatt hoodlums.
Heroes.
Hoodlums.
Hoodlums.
There you go.
Hallstatt
Hallstatt
hoodlums.
hoodlums.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like that better than the cult. So,
There you go.
but, yeah, yeah,
We love alliteration here at the Film Room Podcast. If you haven't noticed,
yeah. We do.
Film Family,
do.
and Hallstatt hoodlums and
Yeah.
such. Good lazy award. I like that.
Thank you.
Mine,
What
I
about
gave
you? What was
to
your
I gave it to the people of the cult, the hoodlums.
okay? Yeah.
So
The
because
Hallstatt hoodlums.
the Hallstatt hoodlums get my lazy award. It is mostly like the guy that's like he was on the watchtower and he was like scoping out and he was the
Mm.
one seemed like their leader of security or whatever, unnamed. Again, we don't know a goddamn thing about this. Tell me something about this cult, please. Because so when he goes to the chancellor, right when he says he's like, no, I can't leave. Like we haven't left in 200 years. No chancellor is left here. Because he says he wants someone to evacuate. Because he's like, okay, Eve's still on the loose, and we also lost track of John Wick. What are y'all doing? You guys brought John Wick in to fight her, and you lost track of him. You lost track of both of them. Like, what are y'all? Everyone in this town
Yeah, I
is
know it's
committed to this
connected.
cause, and you lost track of both of them. How?
Laziness.
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 Exactly.
That's-
Ferris Bueller is the leader of
yeah.
this cult, man.
Yeah, I just imagine like Ferris where it's at. It's just like it's a machine just moving a gun around. Like what the? Where's the guy? He's at a museum in Chicago taking pictures.
Oh my god, that'd be
Dang it,
freaking
man.
hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
Oh man. Yeah, lazy. How do you lose track? You brought the guy in and lost track of him. I mean, it's John Wick, but like, come on.
Yeah, that is pretty ridiculous, honestly. Losing track of both of them. Like you said, they run this whole city, man. They run this town, man. Shout out Jay-Z.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
Rihanna.
gosh.
Yeah,
And Rihanna and the other dude
and the other. Who else is on that track?
is Kanye.
Is Kanye on
Yeah,
runway still? Oh,
Kanye.
okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is on that.
Let's just
I
not
just
even
didn't want to
mention
give
him
him love.
though.
Yeah, I just didn't want
Yeah.
to give him love, but
Kim's ex. We'll say that.
yeah, Kim's ex. Yeah.
All right. Next, we got our best scene. So, what was your favorite scene? There's a lot of good ones that we talked
There
about.
is a lot of good scenes in here. My best scene went to the restaurant fight in Hallstatt. And it was just because the craziness. I mentioned the finger in the eye a couple times,
Hmm.
and like it was that, and then to me it was the plates. We talked about the plates too, and that
Yeah.
I guys, I like stupid humor. Apparently, this is like my
Yeah.
third time saying I don't know. It was just them hitting each other. I didn't think it was gonna go as long as it did. They played into it, just hitting. Okay, oh, they're looking for the gun, and the gun finally comes up, and then like she escapes. She locks her into the thing. We get the axe thrown. She throws the
Yeah.
axe, hits it in the face. He falls over. I'm like, oh my god, Eve is a badass. And then the other layer of humor is the girl finally busts out of the freezer and knocks the other girl out.
Amazing.
And then even her just kind of scramble, and then she just pops her in the head, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just clapping. I'm like, and then like to take the other girl out when she gets up, just Swift throws the knife at her face. I'm like, oh my
Mm.
gosh. I was like, that was a
Mm.
great sequence. Like,
Yeah.
so there's so bad humor and just badassery. It's not a word, but I'm just gonna give it to you.
Badassery? Sure it is.
Badassery. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. It's
It
it's
is
a
now.
it's a film room ism.
If it-
Add that to
yeah, like
add that to our diction.
what's the what's the one that we tenseful? Tenseful.
Oh, tenseful. Yeah. I mean, the filmies isn't a word. We created filmies, so that's add that
That's
to our
true.
dictionary. We're building our isms. But
Our
no,
isms.
that's my best scene. It's the fight. It's the restaurant fight in Hallstatt, and like even just the way it the surprise. I liked how we were surprised. We
Mm.
both talked about how we were surprised by like I didn't think everyone was in on it. So like it was suddenly
Yeah.
in this moment where I was like, okay, these are just civilians. They're gonna get out of here, and we're gonna get the fight to these two people. And then it turns out like no, everyone's in on it, and this whole town is the cult. I'm like, oh snap! So like that got me locked in because then I was like, oh now. Like we're in this. It's not a slow
Yeah.
build into her getting into the cult and all that stuff. Like she's already in it, and now the fighting starts. And then everything that I mentioned that led it after that was just why that was my favorite scene. It was tough to choose because there's so many cool aspects of this movie and really great fight sequences. But what about you?
Yeah, you're right. It was tough to choose. I almost gave it to the fight in the gun shop. That was really
Mm.
good. But I ended up going with the exact same one that you did.
Hey,
That's another
certified.
certified. That's a certified best scene because all the stuff that you said, like the surprise, like oh snap, they're in on it too. That got me. The action was awesome. You know,
Oh,
the axe to the head, like you
oh
said,
my
the
god.
even the flip that like the worker was there when she's like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt you,"
Oh
and then
yeah.
there's that pause. I was like, "Oh snap!" Then she pulls out a knife and this starts going at it. I was
Oh
like, "Oh, okay, she's scrappy too. This is awesome." The whole freezer thing getting knocked down, then
yeah.
she comes out at the perfect time. The plates, everything was it was funny, it was badass, it was awesome. Um, yeah, just great. See
Yeah,
everything that you
no, it's
said
great.
was
Yeah,
awesome.
I was thinking that my backup was the thing too because the exploding the tie thing what got me. I was like, oh my gosh, that was such a crazy.
Crazy.
I want to give it an award just for that because it was just so insane, man. Like,
Yeah, the
wow.
Ballerina Sickest Kill of the Movie award.
Yeah, honestly, it was
That was
dirty,
probably yeah. That was
dirty. Yeah.
that was crazy. All right, last but not least, we have our MVP award. Who gets your MVP?
So this one was kind of tough for me. I was balancing back and forth, but I'm gonna stick with my guns here, just based off for my reasonings of why I gave it to her, and I gave it to Cara Marie Cooljan, which is
Okay.
Ana de Armas' stunt double. And I looked more into it, and
Oh.
it's a pretty even blend actually of the stunts that they did. Like Anna did a lot of her own stunts, and I want to shout her out by because I looked into it, I saw she went training in jujitsu and like kickboxing. She did like 4 to 5 hours of training like over several like daily, sorry, for like several months combining like strength conditioning and then like doing like choreographing her stunts, sorry.
Yeah.
And just all the I saw all the like the difficulties they had to go through of just like working in those icy conditions. Like they actually shot in Prague like during winter, so they had to wear specific like shoes, and then even like that club scene. So like there's a lot of aspects that she did, which I give props to her for. But the reason I'm giving it to Kara is because I'm assuming majority of the things that she did was the hard hitting stuff. They don't want Ana de
Mm,
Armas getting like messed up, and then that fighting style that we talked about of her having to be like the smaller person. So when she was fighting that dude that she stuck, that dude was power bombing her on the table. I don't think that was
Yeah.
Anna getting those power bombs.
No.
When she got thrown on the ice and stuff like that, like there's a lot of scenes where she's getting her ass beat, and I'm thinking that was Kara that was getting her ass beat and doing a lot of those heavy hitting spots. So I want to give her some love for that because she got her ass beat.
Mhm.
So like she really worked, and to me it's like this appreciation that comes from being like a wrestling fan too, because like them taking those bumps, I'm like they're obviously not out there just like wrestling where someone's actually gonna get like hit with the plate and actually get like really like what's it called, the person's not trying to hurt you, but they're like,
Yeah.
I gotta make this look real, so I'm gonna hit you pretty hard. And I know Ana de Armas wasn't getting those ones where it's like I'm gonna hit you hard. I know Cara was getting those, and so
Yeah.
I had to give her some love for that. And I saw her saying that she noted that she was that often a lot of the choreograph, a lot of the stunt performers, they only get like a vague script of like what the fight's gonna be. Especially with this movie, I'm sure there's a little more detailed, but they they're saying this is gonna be the fighting sequence, it's gonna be out here. So they work with the choreographers, the stunt choreographers. Because I almost gave it to him, but specifically, I like the style of Anna's fight. So like, if she contributed to like a lot of style and saw the stylistic choices that happened throughout without those fights, I want to give it to her. And I saw her saying that she's disappointed that because we talked about how like the Oscars now are not like giving notice to
Mhm.
stunt performers. It's not gonna happen until 2027. So she said, so I'm a little
Ah.
disappointed because we worked so hard on this film, and a lot of us, not even just me, aren't gonna get the recognition. But guess what, Cara? You're getting a Filmy. So that
Yeah, there you go.
that's just as getting an
Yeah, that's
Oscar.
100%. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
getting a Philly.
Check
That's
your
that's even better.
check your mail. You're gonna be getting
Yeah.
a
A Philly's on the way.
your
And
Filmy's on the
and to be
way.
fair, Tom Cruise was in an action movie this year, so I don't think the
Yeah.
Oscar would have been yours
Yeah,
anyways.
probably not. But
Even though
maybe
you're
nominated. But
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's true. Um, but yeah, that's a great pick. I mean, yeah, we talk about how awesome the action is. You're right, like the heavy hitting stuff that obviously is just not done before. I think it's interesting too. It makes sense what you talk about how the stunt double will go in and they'll kind of work collaboratively with director, stunt coordinator, whatever, to like choreograph these fights. Because at the end of the day, you can work in like what you want the fight to look like, but once the people are there and you can get a sense of what their skill set is,
Yeah.
then you can like make little tweaks, right? You can go get into the details of it, be like, yeah, I want her to do a backflip and then do this and fight like this kind of move. And but if the stunt double was like, I can't do that,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like then
exactly.
you can't do that. Or if it's like, or I also have training in this, so I could do this kind of kick, or I could
Yeah.
do, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Let's do that instead. That'll be even cooler. And you know what I mean? So just kind of working on like, this is what I is in my skill set. I can do this and this and this. Let's see how we can put this fight together. It totally works. So that's a
Yeah,
cool
no,
pick.
100%. And I didn't want to discredit Anna because I saw like I was watching some behind the scenes, and she did do a lot of her own stunts. Like a lot of that ice fight, like the club in the ice fight. I saw her like, and you could see her face. I'm like, oh, that actually is her doing a lot of these things,
Hmm.
and like her doing a lot of the jujitsu stuff because she trained it. So like her doing like these leg wraps and stuff like that, and like her doing like these movements around. I'm like, okay, I can see that's her. But I was like, I then like I'm assuming these moments when I don't see her face and she's getting her ass beat, I'm assuming that's Cara.
Yeah.
I'm not in the as I'm enjoying the movie. I'm not watching the movie like looking. I'm like, is that her? Is that her? But like as now I'm thinking back and reflecting on certain scenes, I'm like, okay, I'm probably was Cara here. I probably was Cara there. So I just want to give her some. I mean, these are the type of movies where you're going to give props to stunt people when
Yeah.
you're seeing these crazy action set pieces. So I had to give her my MVP for that. But what about you though? Where did you
It's a good
lean?
MVP. And don't worry, Ana de Armas is getting her love. She got my
Oh,
MVP.
okay.
Because I, a lot of it was what you're talking, like the action,
Yeah.
the same thing that you're talking about. She was great when she did her own action. And I talked about all episode how like I was not nervous, but really looking for how she was going to do in the action in this
Yeah.
movies because it has such a high bar.
Yeah.
Keanu set the bar so high. How is she going to do in that position? And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Totally delivered and lived up to the action. It could have easily, even if you have a great stunt double, if the moments where it's her,
Mhm.
if it just doesn't look right,
Yeah.
then that could easily kill all the action. and she was awesome. And then also in her acting moments, she didn't get a ton of them, but even just in the small stuff, like her conversation with John Wick when he come to the Rescaroma, like she had like this air of not envy, but like he's looking up to this guy like he's her hero, right? You're the one they talk about, don't
Yeah.
they? You're the one they call the Baba Yaga. Like it's and you were talking about too, like the rage that she portrayed a lot, like through the fighting when she's like screaming, she's like ah, like it's she added this to her character, which we didn't see in John Wick, and so I think she added a lot to the movie, and it was a big part of why what I liked about it was her. So she gets
Yeah.
my MVP.
No, it's a great MVP because, like, yeah, part of me felt bad too because I was like, ah, man, like, I wanted to get like as I because initially I just leaned towards giving it to Carl, but then I was like, oh, but Anna was great in this too. Like,
Mhm.
I wasn't sure which direction you were gonna go with this. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna give it to her again. So I'm not losing sleep over my filmy choices, but but sometimes I'm like, man, I just want to give props to where it's well deserved. But I'm glad you gave it to Anna,
Yeah.
so now I can sleep tonight.
Yeah,
Don't
she
worry,
got her
guys.
filmy.
Yeah, she got her
They
filmy.
both got their
Yeah,
filmies.
both
Don't
of you
worry. It'll
check.
be in
Yeah,
the mail.
yeah, it'll be in the mail.
Yeah. 5 to 6 business days and you'll
Yeah,
you'll get it on
exactly.
it.
100%. Well, that's a good MVP. I'm glad you gave it to her.
Yeah, yeah, we got our bases covered.
Yeah,
We spread
exactly.
we got to spread the love
A
around.
hundred
So
percent. We
I'm
got
glad you
to.
did that actually, yeah.
You have any final thoughts you want to throw out there? Anything you want?
Not no, no,
No.
not for this movie. Excited for next week, Materialists.
Yeah, we're change of pace from the last 4 weeks
That's right.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it's been nothing but action. Now we're going into
Some drama, yeah, some romantic drama, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It'll be which I'm excited for. We got with the little tease of our origins of our podcast ties
Mm,
into this episode. We'll get into more as when we do that podcast, but stay tuned for that materialist. We got Pascal and his probably 10th thing of the year.
yep.
This
Yeah,
guy's
this
a
guy's
star,
crazy,
man.
dude. Even when I was the previews before this movie, I saw him in like 3 previews.
Yeah, he's
And
insane,
I'm
man.
like Materialist, he has that new movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Eddington, I think.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Last of Us is going on or
how
just
is this?
ended.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
how
know.
is he even doing this,
I
man?
don't know,
Guy's
man.
crazy.
He's one of a kind, man. He's one of a kind. I do want to give out an RIP shout out to Lance Reddick. He passed away a while ago, but he's
Mm,
still in this movie.
yeah.
I was like, when did
Yep.
they record that? But he passed away in 2013, I guess. Oh, not
No.
2013.
20.
2023. Yeah, he passed away before the original John Wick came out. I don't know how they did this. It's very
They brought him back, man. That's the cult. They
yeah, I
bring people
guess so.
back. They got a Lazarus pit in there,
Oh my
man.
goodness. Yeah, freaking Raza Ghul. No,
Yeah.
no, he passed away in 2023. And
Mhm.
I didn't expect I wasn't sure if he was gonna be in this movie. I maybe I forgot because I haven't seen a trailer. Not of trying to avoid the trailers for this too much. 'Cause I didn't think it would give that much away. It's not that kind of movie where they gave away the plot. But I wasn't 100% sure if he was gonna be in this, but he was. I thought it was cool.
Mhm.
So I think this maybe will be his last time we'll see him in this franchise. So
Yeah.
I wanted to give him a don't want to shout that out. RP to Sharon from the front desk,
Sharon.
the
Yeah.
Continental. So that's my that was
That's a
my
good.
final note.
Yeah.
Give him a shout
Great.
out.
Yeah. Great shout out. I mean, the reshoots, I'm sure, is a big reason why, like, because like you said, it got pushed by a year.
Yeah.
So I guess they got the filming done kind of right before it was unexpected, apparently, too, the
Yeah.
way he went out. So
No, exactly. It wasn't even like he was sick, so they're like, "Oh, let's get his scenes in there," because
Mhm.
he looked normal, like picture of
Yeah, look
health
great.
in there. It wasn't like Tony Todd in Final Destination. He looked kind of sick, and they knew
Mhm.
he was dying, so they're like, "Let's get him in the movie, and then we'll shoot the rest afterwards." But yeah, I want to shout him out. But great MVP. We got 2 certifieds. We
That's
went
right.
on that long drought. Now we just get certifieds all the time. We're not even worried anymore. But that wraps up our filmies. If you're new to the show and want to be part of the conversation, like we had our polls. Sometimes we have polls. Sometimes we have people just straight up give us like little answers. It could be like they're giving a little paragraph or just like a quick answer. But follow us on our socials. We're at the Film Room Pod on Instagram and TikTok. We're on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify at the Film Room Pod. If you just search the Film Room Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, you should find us. And if you like the show and you want to help support us, hit us with a review. How many stars should they give us, though, Scott?
5 stars only.
5 stars. I was trying to think if there's
5
some
stars
kind of
only.
like cute tie we could do with
Yeah.
Ballerina.
What was their
Something
5?
five.
I don't know.
I don't know.
5 tattoos.
5 continentals. I don't know.
5. Ooh,
Yeah,
are Continentals 5-star hotels?
I don't know.
You know what? A question I have about the like, can regular people just walk in there?
I
And,
was
like,
yeah,
book a
because it's
room?
not like it's like in this hidden like Harry Potter. You have to like run through the
Yeah,
wall and then you're there. Yeah, it's just out in the open.
yeah,
Do they just turn back people? I don't
yeah.
know,
I
or
don't
they
know.
just let them in. Because I wouldn't want to be in that hotel if I knew if I knew what I'm getting into.
But the idea is you can't
Yeah,
conduct
that's true.
business there.
Well,
So
that gets broken very
yeah,
fast. If the
that's
price
true.
is right, freaking shout out Bob Barker, then anyone can just do what they please. But
That's fair.
yeah. Anyway, to bring it back, we love hearing from the family, and if you give us a 5-star review with a written review, we'll read it on the podcast. Like, I don't know if it's funny, if it's serious, if it's weird, whatever. We don't care. We'll read it on the podcast. We've done it in the past. Whenever we hear any feedback, comment section, anything, we always love hearing back from the family. And I want you to remember this. You watching Ballerina, plus listening to us to the very end, but not hitting that follow or subscribe button, just like Frank said, it's bad math.
It's bad math.
It's bad math. Peace out.
Peace.